Before Ethan even knew what my video was about, he was already framing me as anti-Semitic.
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
I'm one of you. I fucking hate Jews too, guys. Let's get after it. Israelis have no right to defend themselves, actually. All Israelis are settlers, actually. What is he going to give me a history lesson now? Is he a historian? Yeah, he just discovered empathy, by the way, and only extends to the point where you're actually talking about Jewish people or Israelis. Then empathy stops and they should all be murdered. Bro's actually out there like Timothy McVeigh. He's running to the closest fucking kindergarten to blow it up. There's a Jew. I heard there's a Jewish.
That's what Timothy McVeigh did.
They want all you guys to quit and for me to just be like alone, little Jew boy, alone.
Like Ethan under a year ago.
Oh my,
that's a pretty good joke.
Sitch,
That's a pretty solid joke. Okay, you got to give it to that one.
Sitch, your reaction. So obviously, so this is Idubbbz's response to Ethan Klein's response to his original content cop, right? He comes out with a content cop.
Yes.
Yes, he comes out with a content. Idubbbz comes out with a content cop after 25 years in retirement. And then
listen, he got tired of bending over for his wife. Okay.
Oh, he's like already.
Yeah, he's like, honey, please. I know it's 4 a.m. and it's time for the dick flattening, but I gotta make a content cop. I gotta come out of retirement.
No, she was pushing him.
Oh, I see.
I'm gonna beat you with the strap on if you don't make that content cop.
Wake up! It's time for you to make the content cop on your once friend Ethan Klein.
Right, exactly.
Because, and actually, you know, after we watch this, we should watch. I'll find it. There's like the clip that spawned the content cop. Okay. Which is like, is Hila and Ethan talking about being mad that Idubbbz and Anissa didn't defend them or something after CPS called them. It's like the way that the way that Idubbbz talks about in this clip, it makes it sound like they were on their stream and they were just popping off for like a full hour, crapping all over them. I listened to it. It's like it's like a 2-minute clip where they're like, oh, fuck them. They didn't defend us. And that's it. And I'm like, what? That's what spawned the content cop? Are you kidding me?
He pulls that clip out. Yeah, that one fuck you that she says kind of under her breath. Fuck them, right?
Yeah, that's it. I was like, geez.
So we're gonna watch this content deputy, his Idubbbz's response to Ethan Klein's response to him. Obviously, that's a lot to take in. So, but we're gonna back it up to the beginning and just take a look at it and respond.
Hello.
So obviously that long, boring intro. How long did that? 6 seconds of wasted time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Content Deputy. Now, normally in a Content Deputy, I would dance around in my cop outfit in the woods, but this video isn't going to have any of that fanfare. We're just going to get straight into it. I was hoping that if I made a video...
Well, I mean, listen, he knew everyone was ragging how insanely cringe the content cop intro was. With the wake up Ethan and the L dance and all that stuff. So he's like, okay, let's just put all that aside. All right.
He's learned quick, hasn't he?
Yes.
He's just like a dog. You get the newspaper out and you just pat him on the nose.
Yeah, I'll stop being cringe. Okay, maybe I'll stop. Well, this video is going to show he didn't stop being cringe.
Yes,
cringe,
yeah. He knew to put it in the back end of the video where no one's left watching, right?
Exactly.
Ethan, he would act like an adult and he would keep the attacks directed at me and Anissa. Unfortunately, I was wrong in thinking that because Ethan, in a desperate attempt to attack and smear Anissa and I, he started attacking our charity event.
I don't know if you know this, but last year they lost $250,000. To be charitable, you actually have to give money to charity, Hassan. You have to give money to be charity. It's like a slush fund for them.
Ethan and Hila are well aware that we raised $1.3 million for charity the first year of Creator Clash. The second year we operated at a loss, and I take full responsibility for that. We did band together. The community and the fighters involved ended up raising $175,000 for charity. It's been really disheartening to see how often Ethan will attack Creator Clash through us or attack us through Creator Clash.
Ian and Anissa, masters of putting...
Well, look, I noticed he didn't say how much money they paid themselves as a salary, right? That's normally how these things work. I know how these nonprofits work, right? Oh, we're not making any money. Well, I have a $500,000 salary, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and also part of the issue too would be if, Creator Clash 2 didn't do well, right? And you're like, okay, let's change things. Maybe we need to downsize, right? Get a smaller stadium, because that's probably their major cost. The stadium costs, I think, like $250,000.
They gave all the fighters 20 grand too. People were complaining about that because this amateur fighter guy said, "Oh man, I can get boxers for like $1,000." So.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but they have to get like, YouTubers or something. They can't just get like random amateur boxers.
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's the whole thing. So like, okay, but wait, so they give the fighters 20 grand a pop. They have to pay $250,000 for this massive stadium. It's a hockey
so there's
stadium.
$250,000. Okay.
Right. So, but it's like, okay, after Creator Clash 2, it doesn't do well. Why don't you say, okay, let's downsize. We'll have a smaller stadium somewhere that doesn't cost us $250,000. That way it'll be easier to actually raise money for charity. But they didn't do that. They went the exact same stadium, the exact same route that they did last time. So isn't it surprising that like, oh, it's going to be a total disaster, just like it was last time?
Or
do you get to pat yourself on the back and be like, how dare you attack us? We're raising money for charity.
Or they both gave themselves $500,000 salaries, and that's why they ended up losing money. So they're like, well, maybe this year we won't take a $500,000 salary, right?
Well, that's the accusation.
This year we'll do it for like a reasonable amount of money. We'll just do it for $100,000, right?
Okay, sure.
That'll be our $100,000 income for the year.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating here, right?
Just speculate. Just ask questions.
Hold on. How much did he say he raised here? He raised.
Wait, it makes it sound like they raised that like after the fact.
Oh my God, that's fucking pathetic. I thought that was 1.8 million.
No.
Look, you can't give yourself a $500,000 salary out of $180,000.
Also, isn't it weird that like
that doesn't work?
Hassan shouldn't he be like pushing this charity like 24/7 after this?
Yeah, Hassan's not going to do that. So
why not? I bet you, if anything, this is like, I believe it's for cancer. If this was not for cancer, if this was for Palestine,
oh yeah,
Hassan would be talking about it, pushing it non-stop, right? Isn't that disgusting? Like, if it's like a political issue, you got to push it. But if it's not a political issue, because everyone agrees, like cancer bad, it's like, oh well, whatever, it doesn't matter.
I have the perfect solution. You raise the money for cancer research in America for Palestine.
Oh, okay. Just so you only going to fight cancer, but only in Palestine, not anywhere else in the world.
No. The research you'll share with Palestine. Right? Oh. Obviously, you're going to share it in America first.
I see. So I see. You're clever. You're trying to trick them into advocating for the charity.
Look, smart. I'm trying to get this charity off the ground. Aren't I magnanimous?
Yeah.
On an event.
He's reposting random troll accounts that are very easy to vet. If you click on this profile, it has a bunch of Sam Hyde adjacent posts, and it just hates Anissa and I. Come on, dude, you're one step away from calling me a cuck. Just take the plunge. He's highlighting this post that equates Creator Clash to a crypto rug pull. He's saying the event is going to be worse than TanaCon. Can't wait for them to blame us for their failed event. Don't worry, Ela, I'm not going to blame you guys for anything Creator Clash related. I know you're terrified of taking accountability for anything, so that will rest solely on my shoulders.
That was blame right there. Holy shit.
I know.
He totally blamed her. He said, you don't take accountability. This is obviously your fault. The implication is clear. So you are blaming.
So apparently yesterday, they sent out an email, Creator Clash sent out an email, because a lot of people were requesting refunds. And they said,
really? Holy shit.
Shock, right? Because they had the main person drop out. And so
that's not good.
They sent this email back that said, because of the volume of people asking for refunds, which is never
why would you put that in an email? That just screams no one's gonna fucking be here.
It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. But they said because of the volume of requests for refunds, they're actually giving people refunds, full refunds. But get this, you have 1 day.
Oh, they're doing one day, right? They're doing a refund day?
Yeah, you have 1 day to ask for it.
If you miss it, that's it?
Yes.
Oh, man. That's not going to go over well. I think in the terms of service, this is they're trying to get around the terms of service. I think the terms of service stated that they would give refunds. So now they're like trying to basically move it around. So, we did give refunds for that 1 day, right?
Yes. It says, as a one-time exception to our usual refund policy on live stream events, we are able to accommodate your request. If you'd like to proceed, please confirm by May 7th, which is tomorrow. So
what is their usual refund policy?
that's a good question.
The one that's stated in their TOS, which is
That's
like
a
you
great
can get
question.
a refund anytime.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
But I can't speak for the internet. The internet might actually blame you guys for it. Now, with this
Hey, please, internet, come and blame them.
recent revelation that people are just going to use Creator Clash to attack Anissa and I, Anissa and I have decided to step away from Creator Clash. We have relinquished control to our business partners who ran the previous.
Who is this fucking editor that constantly puts the graphic over his face?
It's funny. It's supposed to be funny.
Is this his wife? His wife is like, look, nobody wants you in the video, okay?
Oh my God.
Wasn't she his editor for a while?
She's got it. Listen, she knows that the women are lusting after her man, and she's
There's
like
all
nervous
this
about it. So
space
she got to
over
cover
here.
up his face.
Look, I know people are here. They want to see my reaction. They want my reaction hidden behind some graphic.
So that meme too, that's an H3 meme, the little bi dog.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Look, there's room over here, room over here. You've seen the news broadcast where they put the graphic up next to the news announcer? Like a normal person.
Previous two events. They're very capable. They know exactly what they're doing. They run events on a regular basis. The event is still happening. Anissa and I just don't have any financial ties. We don't have any ownership. We are, I think just going to be known as the founders of the event. Yeah, I mean, I
think you'll be known as the people who fucked it up and quit the event, but that's fine.
Yes.
think it had to come to this eventually. I can't keep my mouth shut. I can't, I can. I just didn't want to. I want to be frank. I want to be honest. I was very quiet during the second Creator Clash because I was afraid of how that would impact other people. This year I said I'm going to do something different. I'm going to fight back if someone's trying to attack me. So that's what I did. And now I've realized, like, I can't really...
Wait, okay, hold on. The idea that the Content Cop video was some kind of, like, fight back against Ethan because he kept attacking my charity is so dishonest.
It is
really
completely
come
dishonest.
on. All this like therapy talk too throughout this video, it's so disgusting.
Yeah, he
You gotta take
reached out to him.
responsibility.
He reached out to him privately and asked for an endorsement, to come out against people calling CPS on his family, right?
Yes.
Look, Sitch, if that ever happens to you, you won't reach out to me. I'll jump right on the YouTube channel and tell everyone, stop fucking around.
What if it's like your best friend, Hassan Piker, that's doing it?
First of all, I fucking hate Hassan Piker. How dare you say anything like that? And look, he's going to do that kind of shit anyway, but I'll back you up, obviously. It's weird when you ask a friend for that kind of help, right? Like, imagine if I said, Sitch, you just take care of this on your own, okay? Stop bugging me about this shit.
It is weird. It is pretty weird. And also, like, those clips of, Ethan and Elo, like, criticizing Creator Clash, those came, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought those came after the Content Cop. Yeah.
Yes, after the Content Cop. Yes, exactly.
But he's, like, framing it like that was why they did the Content Cop.
Were they talking about Ian/Idubbbz before the Content Cop came out?
No, there's that one clip where they just complain about them not defending them for the CPS. That's the only thing I saw.
They were talking not specifically about.
No, they
Ian.
specifically talk about for
Did
like
they
2
name
minutes. It's like
Ian?
very short. They specifically name Anissa. It's actually interesting. They're more criticizing Anissa than they are Idubbbz for not defending them.
All these
but it's like, again, it's like 2
videos
minutes.
to response videos. I can't keep them all straight.
I know.
We need a
it's a lot.
timeline on the screen so that we can work all this stuff out.
Have my cake and eat it too. It's either you're going to talk shit like a foul beast on the internet, or you're going to have a charity event. It really can't be both. I'm very proud of the event that we made with...
He figured that out before. Why didn't he do this after the charity event then? Wouldn't it be great if he figured that out after the charity event so he didn't fuck up the whole event?
I mean, it's already fucked.
It's still happening, June 28th. I'm just not going to be involved in it. Please, for the love of God, support this event. I feel...
I'm not going to be involved in it except promoting it right now. Please. Please.
I feel like in some ways I'm like cutting off an arm so that I could escape the bear trap, and so I can fight. Well, that's a bad analogy. You guys get it. We've already told all the fighters, and it seems like most people understand that this is the best move. If the previous content cop was entertaining to you, or this video is entertaining, or you like the message, the best thing that you can do, for me, is to support Creator Clash. Buy a ticket, buy a pay-per-view ticket, an in-person ticket, or donate to the fundraiser. I just want to see this event do well. You know, I didn't try this shit because I thought I was going to be a good boxer. I didn't think I would be an awesome event organizer. And you know, now I'm finally back to where I started, which is making fucking content cop videos. I don't want to make this too ham-fisted, but I kind of do want to make it ham-fisted because I'm like, I spent my last fucking 4 years working on this stupid boxing shit. I mean, it was worth it, absolutely, but like, it's crazy that I've just returned to content cop. Having said all that, Creator Clash ticket link down in the description. Go check it out, buy tickets, support the charity, support the fighters, and have a good ass time. I mean, ultimately,
this sounds horrible. This sounds awful to me because it reads as trying to capture your glory days instead of moving forward.
What do you mean by that?
And then his own reaction to it. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing content cop. Like he's making it sound like this is going to be a regular series again, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Look, right now the Thunderbolts came out. I don't know if you saw they changed the name to New Avengers. I thought this was the cringiest part of the movie, the New Avengers tie-in thing at the end of the movie, and it just gave me these same kind of Idubbbz vibes. Like, oh my God, we're doing that again. We're trying to capture those glory days, right?
They
the Infinity Saga
of the movie.
They literally changed the name of the fucking movie. Yes.
Oh, look, my God.
The movie's not totally bad, and I just like let it stand on its own merit. This is a new team, right? They're called the Thunderbolts. As soon as you bring in the Avengers, you're like, oh, that's Tony Stark as a woman. That's like a short, dumpy woman, right?
Well, it's like what they're doing is they're like, okay, Marvel is not doing well. We need to revitalize the brand. We need to save the Avengers. No one cares about it after Infinity War. So, we have a movie. Finally, it's done well.
The movie hasn't done well. It was a box office flop. It didn't make as much money as Eternals.
No, but compared to, well, at least critically, I think people have been talking about it
critically, people do like it. But that's why I was saying, look, I think critically this movie could get some legs if you didn't go out and compare it to fucking the best Marvel movie ever, right? Why are you comparing this to the Avengers movies? They were the most popular Marvel movies of all time.
They're going to take anything that's reasonably successful in the Marvel universe, and they're going to try to use it to revive the corpse.
Look, you
Marvel
understand
superhero universe. Okay.
You understand the concept of contrast, right?
I understand.
Like the movie is not, I mean, it's okay. It's not Infinity Saga, okay?
Yeah, but okay.
But as soon as you compare it to Infinity Saga, it goes from being, it's okay, to, wow, this movie really fucking sucks.
Yeah, but people aren't comparing it to Infinity Saga. They're going to compare it to the Red Hulk movie that just came out. Right. They're going to compare it to the Black Widow prequel movie. They're going to compare it to all these terrible movies that have just come out.
They aren't, because they named it the New Avengers. They're going to compare it to the old Avengers.
They're
which
trying
all
to
those movies made like $1 billion. No, I know what they're trying to do.
They're trying to trick the people. They're like, you liked Avengers. Okay, come watch this. They're the new Avengers.
To bring it back to the Idubbbz situation, I feel like it seems to be the exact same thing here, where he's trying to trick you into thinking, oh, look, the new content cops are going to be as good as the old content cops. Bullshit. Not that audience has moved on. It's ridiculous. It sounds horrible.
Here it is.
Sounds horrible.
His next content cop is going to be on Ben Shapiro.
You're kidding.
Okay. That's my prediction.
You're speculating here. I thought he actually put a tweet out. No. I was like, oh, please, make it stop.
People are expecting Andrew Tate, but that's already been done to death by 1 million people. He's gonna do either content cop Donald Trump or content cop Ben Shapiro. That's my
content cop woke edition.
Yes.
Make it stop. Make it stop. It's so off brand. It's so off-brand.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing because I think I am meant to roll around in shit. I think me and Ethan are both meant to be rolling around in pig shit all day long, and other people are...
Do you see he read that off the screen? His eyes completely went to the screen. He pulled.
He
a
couldn't
Saturday
remember
Night
rolling
Live.
around in pig shit.
That's
A
hilarious.
very complicated line read.
Yes.
Are meant to do boxing or debating or whatever else. Ethan and me, pig shit rolling around type of fellas.
You underestimate my strength! I've got kosher strength! The will of Allah! I mean Yahweh! Yahweh!
I think the worst criticisms...
See, this is like the Avengers thing that you're talking about, because it's like he shows a clip of back in the day when Idubbbz was funny. And it's like, look, here's this funny sketch that me and Ethan did that was hilarious. Like,
Yeah, this is funny. When
I wish we were back there. That was a fun time. Why can't we be back there?
I just look. This was funny when you're in your 20s. It's not funny when you've got two guys pushing their 40s rolling around in the dirt in diapers.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah,
obviously now
it's a
little
whole different fucking context. But yet he's sitting here and going, "Yes, this is my new career trajectory."
Where I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Look, if you're 40, you should like move into stand up, right? Do something like that doesn't look weird on a 40-year-old, right? Yeah.
Don't be a hater. I think, listen, I want to see Jackass 27 when they're all 60 years old, okay, and falling apart. So when they actually do this, the pranks and stunts, they just die.
Is Jackass still around?
It better be.
I do like that one where they had the grandpa. That was funny.
There you go.
I think it's called Bad Grandpa. That movie is hilarious. That adding a narrative structure to Jackass was brilliant. Did you ever see that movie?
I didn't see the I don't think I saw the Bad Grandpa spinoff. No.
It's great. It's so great. Anyway.
I labeled that Ethan is that he's a bad boss, a tyrant of a boss. I just implied that he was being taken advantage of by people either in his community or outside of his community, and I called him a bitch-made coward. That was like the summary of personal insults labeled at Ethan. Before Ethan even knew what my video was about, he was already framing me as anti-Semitic.
But he's like,
we saw this already. Do you want to watch it again, or should we just...
No, we could just
go
past it.
Insert tirade. This tirade was actually hilarious, though. So
Jeffrey Dahmer line's pretty good. It's a good line.
He's running to blow up the school is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
There he is.
Actually out there like Timothy McVeigh. He's running to the closest fucking kindergarten to blow it up. There's a Jew. I heard
Good. It's funny.
That's
Good
hitting.
joke.
See, look, as you get older, look, Ethan's got some gray hair there. He knows.
Don't
He's
be
like,
so
look,
ageist. I want to see Idubbbz and Ethan roll around talking about the will of Yahweh in diapers on a cliffside in Los Angeles somewhere.
do you really?
Of course.
Some geezer fucking breaks a bone out there? You think that's going to be funny?
That's hilarious.
You got a warped sense of humor, kid.
The way to solve Creator Clash, okay? Ethan and Idubbbz, they can fight each other. They can beat the shit out of each other. That'd be amazing. Be great.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think so?
I think it would be funny if Ethan returns to form like he did with bringing Sam Cedar in with Crowder.
Right.
And he brings out Mike Tyson to fight Ian.
Well, Mike Tyson already lost, okay, to
Yeah, but
Pauls,
look, I
so.
do think Mike Tyson could beat the shit out of Ian. It'd be a great comeback story for him. He'd be like,
okay, there you go.
yeah, Logan Paul, he beat my ass, but I'm gonna take this white boy down. I'm gonna show him who's boss.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson is so great.
Was it not Jake?
He has like
Jake's
the
a
most
fighter, right?
effeminate voice ever.
I know.
Oh yeah. It's Jake Paul, not Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So,
for
I mean,
the
they're like the
correction.
same person. It doesn't.
No. Thanks for the correction.
they want all you guys to quit and for me to just be like alone, little Jew boy alone.
Like Ethan under a year ago was saying he doesn't use anti-Semitism in that way. He's not a guy to call anything and everything anti-Semitic.
You know,
Okay, look, I want to address this just because we're engaging in this as well, and I just want to address the pushback. I think this is funny because people on the left have done this for so long. Like we've seen it for 10 years straight. where they're just pulling out microaggressions. They're saying you're a fucking racist. They're canceling Gina Carano for being a Nazi when she makes some post that's completely innocuous. So I see it as karma when these people on the left who have been constantly going to that trough of calling everyone a racist, all of a sudden it's turned back on them. And it's other members of the left calling them racist for being anti-Semitic. I think it's hilarious because it's a taste of their own medicine. So
as long as it's being done for that purpose, as long as that's the understanding, is like, well, by your own standards, you would be racist, you'd be anti-Semitic, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I would like to just get away from this whole calling everybody racist, calling everybody anti-Semitic.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I would like to move past that.
But this is, I look at the title of this.
That's why I need to address it. That's why I need to address it, because this is fucking hilarious. Look, I'm not convinced Idubbbz hates Jewish people. Okay,
I don't think he hates Jewish people. No,
I am convinced Hassan Piker hates Jewish people, and I would go as far as saying I believe he probably, when he's at home with his family, they're probably a bunch of anti-Semites too. He's probably raised in an anti-Semite environment. Look, I don't think that of Cenk. Cenk is obviously his uncle, but I think Cenk has more of a connection to America than Hassan does. Obviously, Hassan fucking hates America. Cenk loves America, definitely, all the time. Anna Kasparian loves America. It's one of the reasons why she said she likes our show, is because we're some of the few people who are center-left that actually have pride in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have American pride. Pride. No, I'm just...
in our own country.
Right.
USA.
That's going to be
USA.
fun. That's another thing that, like, they're going to come along and spin that as, oh my God, look, they're white supremacists. That's a dog whistle for white pride. That's what they're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's the shit I want to stop.
Right.
But it's normally done by people on the left. And this is funny. It's that you reap what you sow, right, bitch?
My whole life, I've never screamed foul on anti-Semitism. I literally have been getting this shit since the second I stepped foot on the internet. And I have never fucking ever done this, okay? So the people online, they're saying, oh, Ethan's making himself a victim, or Ethan's making everything about anti-Semitism. I've done this once in my life right now. But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
His producer's so embarrassed. It's hilarious.
I know. I don't know why he's wearing like a Dorothy from Wizard of Oz wig, but
yeah.
I mean, I get that he's scared and offended, but this was the whole...
It is important if Ethan has been doing content for over a decade. He's got criticism, but he never received this level of criticism, especially if it was anti-Semitic level of criticism, people, attacking him for being Jewish. That never happened until his kerfuffle, his split with Hassan. I mean, that does tell you something. That is interesting. It does.
Yeah, of course. And look, you've got to be able to discern, and sometimes it's very difficult, right? You've got to be able to discern between the bad faith actors who are just trying to blow something innocuous up into racism and legitimate racism, right? There is racism in the world. That's the argument of the left all the time. Most of the time, people on the left have a difficult time telling the difference, right? They see even innocuous things as racist.
He's happy for $20 says, I've been thinking a lot about forgiveness. I actually wrote a Substack piece on the subject. I think we can forgive Idubbbz. I know Ian backstabbed his friend, backstabbed his fans, and became a cuck, but I forgive him.
Well, that's good.
That
seems
noble.
Very pointed at me.
It's very noble of you, C.S. Paffy.
That seems A-Team is about forgiveness too.
I mean, I guess it is easy also psychologically. I mean, Idubbbz is in a bad place, right? He seems kind of pathetic at the moment. So you're like, oh, okay, I forgive him for being pathetic.
Ethan seems to have a good read of the environment, though. I mean, I would use Ethan as a resource to avoid being pathetic. Like, obviously, look, Hassan.
I mean, Ethan's a little calm self. I don't know if I'd agree with that.
Well, look, Ethan knew I think Ethan would know that Fortnite dance is super cringe and not to do it. Hassan knew the same.
Right.
Ian didn't know. Idubbbz didn't know. He literally did it, right? He
That's
did
true.
it, watched the video and thought, oh, killing it. He seems to be a little out of it, right? A little
his cringe
detached
detector's
from.
off.
Yeah,
Sure.
way off. So when your cringe detector's off, wouldn't you want to go to resources where people have a better cringe detector?
Well, you know, it's like when there's like a smell, it's like a bad smell in your place, and you don't like do anything about it, and then you become
there
nose
all the
blind to
time.
it.
He's living in
Right.
cringe. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying, so he married cringe, so obviously he can't detect cringe anymore because he's married to it. So he's just subsumed in cringe 24/7.
Right. Yeah. She was probably loving it, laughing and pointing at the screen the whole. Oh,
Yes.
this is great. Meanwhile, the internet has a completely different reaction.
Yes.
Point of my video, Ethan. I was saying that you shouldn't be doing this. It led to me making this video in the first place. You were triggered by the CPS harassment thing, and then you immediately equated Anissa and I to it. That was sloppy, and that was horrendous, and it was horrendous for us. And now you're doing it again.
He didn't equate it to them. He said he asked them to help resolve the issue, and he told them to fuck off.
Yeah.
That's how it went. That's I
Sloppy.
know that part of the timeline.
Sloppy.
Yeah. He asked you for a friendly favor and you told him pound sand. You said, listen, I'd like to put our friendship on pause until you resolve this stuff, right? I know there's a hitman out to kill you, but get out of here, punk.
I'm going to watch it live.
Should you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. But like, why?
I just don't think, I feel like you're going to get really emotional and say something you regret.
Well, I've got the button.
Like, I know you don't have a problem taking it head on, but I just feel
Of course not. Because I know that
you're
whatever-
understandably upset, and I feel like it might be a little...
Should we wait to talk about it, or you want to talk about it?
You should do it off stream. Because I don't know, this escalated initially because we were live and you guys were heated about, I forget what it was.
I just think it might be wise to watch it, think out your thoughts, and respond in a calm way. Because there's no chance that you don't get heated.
I don't need...
Is this talking about the content deputy?
The content cop, the original
okay.
video. That is kind of
fucking
hilarious
pre-wa-
that Ethan's entire staff is like, listen, Ethan, you shouldn't watch it live because you can't control yourself.
Don't bring it up.
It's pretty fucking funny.
What a bunch of fucking babies. I'm here to see him explode. I
That's
want
what
to see him
people
get
want.
triggered.
They want to see Ethan get
Worst
triggered. Yeah, exactly.
fucking producers of all time.
Oh, it's a good point.
watch this. I don't need someone else to hold my hand through it. Like, I'm ready to take on anything that these people have to say about me. He's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys. I'm one of you. I fucking hate Jews too, guys.
You attacked us, so I attacked back, and now you're acting surprised and shocked, and you're doing it all on your podcast live. So naturally, you reacting live is you having an emotional reaction and seeing things that honestly are scary.
I just said I vented about them not defending me. What the fuck is he like? He's actually losing his shit and I just can't believe it, dude.
Should call him up.
So go fuck yourself.
Oh my God. It's been 20 years and Idubbbz still hasn't figured out that you can't just throw shit up on the screen without reading it.
Not defending me. What the fuck is he like? He's actually losing his shit and I just can't believe it, dude.
Should call him up.
So he says venting to 20 to 30K live viewers. So obviously Idubbbz is complaining about him venting to a large audience. That's what you missed if you kept your phone in your pocket and were just listening to this. Like 90% of people do.
Right.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
That's it right there. Go fuck yourself. That's Ethan and Gila venting. How's that
Is
not
it-
venting?
Is it weird to like, listen, let me completely, I'll take like 90% of Idubbbz side here and say, we don't know what the private conversation was between Ethan, Hila, and Idubbbz and Anissa. We don't know what the private conversation was, what the text chain was, where they asked for whatever they asked for. Okay, maybe they asked for something crazy. Who knows, right? But to me, it seems strange that like, if something significant happens to someone and they act irrational or unreasonable about it, but it's something severe, usually there's like some amount of grace that you give them. Like, so if Child Protective Services is called to your house with the threat of taking your children away from you, okay?
Yeah,
it's a
fucking interviewing them by themselves at the school. This is crazy.
Yes, that's a very severe thing that happens to someone. And even if the person blows up on me and I don't deserve it, right? And maybe I'm angry at the time because I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't do anything. I would hope, I would think that I have like, okay, listen, the moment passed. I'm going to take a breath. Like, you know, I understand they were in a heated moment because of the situation that happened to them. I understand that. Okay. Maybe we can talk about it later once everything is cooled down. Right. And it seems to me to be weird to be like, oh, well, because they got mad because they almost got their children taken away or could potentially get their children taken away by the government in some sort of like wrongful action by haters. And then so because of that, they said, go fuck yourself on a stream. I'm going to make like this massive content cop video about that just because they told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, on one hand, we have government can take away your children and someone on a stream told me to fuck myself. I mean, it just, one of those seems like far more significant in the weighing of things.
Yeah, it shows Ian's complete lack of empathy, right?
Yes.
He's playing it like it's no big deal. Like if that was happening to you, I'd be like, fuck these guys. We're going to fucking fix this. Especially if I had the kind of clout Ian had. I mean, it's weird because he's completely thrown his clout away.
Right.
Right. This might have been an opportunity for him to revive some of that clout if he did come out and defend his friend. If he came out and said, listen, I don't support, like I have a difference of opinion on him on supporting Palestine. Like Ian says he's more in favor of supporting Palestine than Ethan is, but it's wrong to call Child Protective Services on this guy because he's a good dad. Like if he just came out and said that, everyone would be like, thank you. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, they'd be completely on his side. Tickets for Creator Clash 3 would be through the roof.
This seems more narcissistic to me. This response that Idubbbz is going with.
Yeah. He's like, look, I'm stepping away from Creator Clash so I can roll around in the mud and do content that was popular 10 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yet I'm not the one who's emotionally venting here. It's Ethan that's emotionally venting.
Right, right.
Doesn't seem that way. Seems like maybe you're emotionally venting.
Fair weather friends who are so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ian sucks for the same reason right now. He could say something
spineless. Our POV is like, fuck everybody, and I don't want to hear any excuses. You're not my friend, and you never were, and you never will be. You never will be.
What's very
I mean, you can completely turn this around. That's like an opportunity to go on the H3 podcast and be like, I don't condone people calling CPS on you.
Saying about this
mean words, a couple mean words on a podcast, it's the same weight as you almost losing your children. So content cop away, baby.
It's so weird because the CPS stuff is so clearly out of bounds. Why is it so wrong to just
wait till you get to the part where Idubbbz talks about that? It completely destroys all of his credibility more than it's already been destroyed. Okay, it's like insane. His argument for that is crazy.
Okay.
Content cop is I was thinking about Ethan's feelings so much in that video. I thought about the idea of like how I shouldn't be saying the term Zionist or Zionism in that video because I was like, he has explained before that that's personally insulting to him and he doesn't like that. You know, regardless of how true it is, I was like, I'm going to think about Ethan's feelings and not mention this. Fast forward to him reacting to my video, he's just outright calling me a fucking Nazi.
This is top tier emotional abuse, gaslighting, abusive behavior. Right. And I mean, it makes sense. Maybe Idubbbz is always like this. Maybe he's learned it from Anissa. I don't know. This idea that anyone could watch that content cop and be like, oh, Ian was really thinking of Ethan's feelings when he was making this video.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
That's why he went to Hassan's studio and flipped him off from Hassan's studio.
Yes.
Empathy.
It should be, yeah. Have the picture of them all flipping him off and just put empathy in big golden text across it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention that you're a Zionist, but I am going to go to your mortal enemy's studio, the guy who's made your life miserable for 2 years now,
Right.
and flip you off from there.
I'm going to dance around with the people that are involved and happy with CPS being called on your family.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like he understands the basic levels of attack here, right?
It's so funny.
I'm being nice to
Is it-
you. Oh, sorry, I shot you in the head.
He really, in his mind, conceptualized Ethan and Hila saying "fuck you" to him on stream is like the same level as CPS being called to his house. He sees it the same. Like that. This is a very clear narcissistic behavior.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
You know, regardless of how true it is, I was like, I'm going to think about Ethan's feelings and not mention this. Fast forward to him reacting to my video, he's just outright calling me a fucking Nazi.
Is it a coincidence that Ian really shaved his head just before doing this video and he's holding a swastika one? I mean, we can free Palestine without being a Nazi.
The shaving head thing's pretty cringe. Give me a break here. Okay. He's just losing his hair. That's all that's going on.
You fucking Nazis. How about that? Well, this is the white savior, Ian, who's just found empathy, unless you're Jewish, of course.
Ethan, people are allowed to shave their head and not be called anti-Semitic. I mean, if you're going to critique his podcast or be pissed off that he personally insulted you.
As like he's holding the Nazi sword. Let's put that in the equation.
That's, I mean, yes,
so.
you got to bring up the Nazi sword, yes.
Yeah. It's a combination of the two. Like if you shaved your head and you had a Star of David sword, it'd be a completely different take, right?
No, well, the Nazi, the sword, the bleach sword, 100% was done to troll Ethan, 100%.
Yeah,
I don't think Ian made the decision to shave his head to be like, oh, well, I'm going to shave my head, then I'm going to fly to Hassan's house, then I'm going to pick up this sword that looks sort of like a swastika just to complete the image. Like, I don't think that was the thought process.
None of this was planned, right?
Yes, right.
The thing is, though, once these pieces are in place and you're thinking about the whole situation, not putting together how this is going to be perceived is completely
stupid,
bananas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even that is enough to be called anti-Semitic. It's fucking crazy. Now, I don't want to talk about Hassan's sword. I don't want to talk about Hassan's sword hilt because Ethan himself basically admitted already multiple times he doesn't think any of us did that intentionally. And he would be right.
Do I think any of them actually wanted to put a swastika in the photo? No, no. I don't actually think that. The chances that they did on purpose is close to zero, right? So I'm not accusing them.
I picked up a random sword in Hassan's room that was laying around. That could be the end of the discussion. You don't actually need to debate Hassan about the sword hilt.
He left it up.
Decision making.
If it was a mistake, he could have deleted it.
But I'm not going to delete the photo because that would be indulging in your weird anti-Semitic fantasies.
We can free Palestine without being a Nazi. You fucking Nazis. How about that?
I'm
empathy.
Done being nice to Ethan.
Okay. Again, I get it. It's a bleach sword. I don't think Hassan bought it because he's like, well, this sort of resembles a swastika. I get it's not a swastika. Okay. Everyone understands. Everyone gets it. Okay. We all get it. We don't need the NPC tree dialogue response talking points. Okay. We get it. It's not really a swastika. There's no fucking way. There's no way in hell that Idubbbz and all those people that he picked up this sword and took this picture, and no one at any point's like, that sword looks kind of like a swastika. We're talking about an issue related to Jewish people. Are you sure you want to do that? There's no way that no one said that. That entire conversation didn't happen. Okay. Someone noticed. Ian noticed. Someone they all in that picture know what's going on. Everyone gets it's a troll. Just own it. Just say, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. We're just trying to trigger you. And it worked.
You think they actually did have that conversation? I mean, Hassan clearly says, oh, he goes for the Nazi sword in the clip. So Hassan did mention, hey, that's the Nazi sword.
Yeah, but no, he's not saying that to Idubbbz. He said that during his Assassin's Creed promo thing, supposedly.
Oh, he did? Those are the Assassin's Creed people?
Supposedly. He wasn't saying that to Idubbbz. So That's what I'm saying. Everyone has eyes. We all have fucking eyes. Okay.
Right.
You look at it and go, I know that's not a swastika, but I also know it could look, it seems kind of swastika-ish.
Right.
And it's going to be perceived as that way. And I'm going to give, like, the point of it is I'm going to give ammunition. I'm going to give fake ammunition. I'm going to get Ethan to complain about a Nazi sword. And then I get to troll him and say, ha ha ha, it's not really a Nazi. It's from Bleach. You're crazy. Look at how crazy Ethan is. That's the point of it. That's the entire point of the action.
Sure. But now I'm wondering if Idubbbz is just stupid and that Hassan knew immediately, like, oh my God, he went for the Nazi sword. And,
I don't think so.
Hassan is like keeping it zipped. He's like, oh, interesting.
It was 100% intentional. It's impossible that it wasn't intentional.
Hassan is like, you picked up the not swastika sword. That's good. That's a perfect.
Right.
Hassan obviously hates Ethan, so who knows what he'll do.
To Ethan, I gave it a chance. My sincerity and my empathy in that last video was real. I was even equating to him having crash out moments in the same way that denims could have crash out moments. I think we're all capable of it, but he was using it in the video to suggest that I was making fun of his mental health.
To my good friend Ian of 8 years, I really appreciate you weaponizing my mental health against me.
To make Ethan crash out. He's having a parasocial weird crash out. People can have crash out moments. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help. Dude, I'm not making fun of your mental health. Every example you used was me basically saying that other people are trying to affect you. It's understandable that you're going through this right now, Ethan. We all go through this.
To characterize anything I'm doing as crashing out, that I need help, that I need to get some kind of treatment, is cruel and pathetic on a level I didn't think he would ever be possible of doing.
Idubbbz just misses the entire fucking point. Like, crashing out, it means getting hysterical over something completely inconsequential, right? You showed up and your table is going to be an extra 10-minute wait when you have a reservation, right? And you fucking lose your mind over it, right? People called Child Protective Services. An officer came out and said, I'm going to talk to your kid alone at school. That's not your table being 15 minutes late, right?
Right.
That's a point in your life when you do get upset and take it to 11, right? That's not a fucking crash out, dude. And the fact that maybe he doesn't get that. Maybe he's just that dense.
Let me do some armchair psychology here. Okay. This is what I think is going on. So Idubbbz made his career in the past primarily insulting people. He would do his content cops, obviously, which were criticizing other YouTube creators. He had an entire series where he would look at bad Kickstarters and talk about how they were bad or scams or whatever.
Those videos.
You know, he did his bad unboxings where he would basically, people would intentionally send him bad things and he would talk about how horrible it was that people send him all this stuff. Okay. Which is all fine. It's all funny. It's all good content. I laughed, right? But then Idubbbz goes through like his empathy period, his revival period, his change, where he's like, I'm going to become a good person. And I think in order for him to sort of, in his mind, you know, think of himself as being a good person and conceptualize his past actions, he had to concoct this like narrative, this self-defense narrative, where he's like, well, maybe I was very hard on the people like Tana Mongu and Rice Gum and Kim Sarnol's people and all those Kickstarters. Maybe I was very hard on them, but like I was criticizing them about things that they were doing that was wrong, and they could have watched my videos and they could have learned
and improved,
improved themselves. Okay, so he creates this like completely fantasy in his mind somewhere that people would watch his videos where he's making fun of them, he's attacking them, he's hypercritical of them, and they're like, oh, well, thank you, Idubbbz. Thank you. I've learned now to become a better person because of your content cop, because of your Kickstarter video. But in reality, everyone knows that didn't fucking happen. In reality, they go, oh, I just publicly dunked on you to millions of people, and that person's going to feel like shit and they're going to feel attacked. They're not going to learn anything from it. They're not going to become a better person from it. But because Idubbbz has this like insane idea of his past content, again, armchair psychology, because he has this insane idea of his past content, he's now thinks that he can go forward and just completely like do this dunk on Ethan, do this content cop on Ethan, be very critical, insult him, make fun of him, all this other stuff. And Ethan's supposed to be like, oh my God, I never understood I was crashing out. I never understood I was wrong until you made fun of me to millions of people in an audience. I finally get it. Idubbbz, thank you. Thank you for doing the content cop and making me see the light.
So now he's reconceptualizing all his old content as helpful critique. And this is just an extension of that helpful critique. I like it. This might be what's going on. So you're basically saying he's delusional.
He's completely narcissistically delusional about that video and what he is and who he is.
Right. Look, I don't think you're a bad person if you dunk on fucking evil grifters.
Right.
Yes, which you should. Unfortunately, I think Ian is basically siding with an evil grifter, Hassan Piker, because his girlfriend has some fantasy that she's Palestinian or something. it's all levels of weird. And this whole, look, I'm rebranding as I'm the new content cop. I'm content cop 2025. Look, a lot of times if you're an artist, I'm an artist, I've been a lifelong artist, you got to reinvent yourself, okay? You don't go back to the shit that you were doing 10 years ago because the audience has moved on.
Well, listen, this is different.
New.
This is content cop.
Marvel, listen, something new.
No, listen. This is content cop far left edition. All right. This is new. It's completely new.
This is not. This is for, oh my God.
Content cop socialist edition. You didn't think you wanted it, but now you got it.
Oh my God. Jerry Seinfeld was so right. He's like, look, I'm retiring the Seinfeld show when I'm on top.
Right.
You know, the time to retire is not when Creator Clash is in flames. Right? You want to leave some legacy behind. This is, people are watching this. People are interested because it's a fucking train wreck.
Yes.
It's a total train wreck. All the people that Idubbbz used to make fun of because they were delusional, I liked Kickstarter trash because a lot of that stuff was just delusional people trying to make some money on the internet, which, you know, God bless them. I get it. But part of being successful is setting your delusional nature aside, right? Well, Idubbbz here is going backwards. He went from being the one who was setting it straight about this Kickstarter trash to now he's promoting his own Kickstarter trash. And he can't even see it. It's hilarious. Creator Clash has basically become Kickstarter trash.
Yep.
Every fucking example that you tried to smear me with was me actually pointing to something else that could be affecting you. He even brought up the clip of me saying, if you get help, we all need help. Everyone on this planet needs help. I don't care how you get it. You can wander into the jungle and go on an ayahuasca trip. I don't care how you get your help or what you define as help. But if it helps you, that would be good. Because right now it doesn't seem like you're getting much help. The main criticism that I was seeing online with my video from Ethan and Hila is that I didn't mention the CPS call.
There's really just one central point that I want to make here. My good friend Ian, in his hour-long takedown, did not mention one time Child Protective Services. Not one time.
There was not even one mention of CPS.
And a lot of the clips he uses is us fired up from the day that CPS came to us.
So like
without even explaining that at least that's the context, it's pretty cowardly.
I wonder why I wouldn't.
Okay. So we're all on the same page here. The criticism is you play clips of us. We're very angry. We're very angry because the government was called to take away our children. Why did you not include this as important context?
The context. Why we're so mad. Yes.
Right. Okay. So let's listen very closely to hear what Ian's answer to that question.
Meaning that at least that's the context is pretty cowardly.
I wonder why I wouldn't mention the CPS call. Could it be that the CPS call happened the same day that you were shit-talking me and I didn't have any chance to defend myself? You just immediately, in the same podcast right next to each other, said, CPS call was very traumatic. And then you said, fuck Ian and Anissa. And you linked those together, you kind of layered those flavors, and then Anissa and I got a bunch of harassment. We had nothing to do with the CPS call. What are all these fucking comments on your Reddit?
Okay, so to be clear, his answer is, I didn't include the context because whataboutism? Because you, the same day you got the CPS call, or the same day that you talked about it on stream, is the same day you attacked me. So fair's fair. Is that the argument?
Yeah,
the
it
argument
seems
is
to be,
fair's
doesn't
fair.
it?
Right. So again, this is why I'm saying that Idubbbz is narcissistic. Okay, to the point of pathology. He's literally comparing government coming to your house, take your children away, to I said fuck you on a stream. He thinks those are the same thing.
Well, he's basically saying that you implied that I was responsible for CPS, so therefore I'm going to imply that you're losing your mind over nothing. And if I include the CPS call in, then people will see, oh, obviously he's losing his mind for a good reason. So I have to leave that context out.
I mean, they don't imply that he had anything to do with doing it. They just complain about them not, defending them publicly.
Yeah. But I'm sure. What is this? It says Idubbbz omitting the CPS call from the content cop should be a bigger story.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that have to do with this argument?
No, he's saying that this was the criticism people were levying against Idubbbz.
Yeah, but this
which is true. That is the criticism. And then his answer is, well, because you were mean to me on a stream, so I get to remove content in a dishonest way. Like, that's the answer. The question.
But his argument was he got harassment when he was mentioned on the podcast.
Yes.
He didn't come out with the content cop until long after he got mentioned on the podcast.
Oh, so you're saying he should show examples of the harassment he got?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
It's dumb, but obviously, look,
that's true.
Idubbbz has actually become a shit content creator. Like, everyone who's doing YouTube is completely, always, constantly upping their game. Even fucking Ethan knows. He's like, look, I can't make these crazy comedy videos anymore because the tide is turning. People want long form content. I got to do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So he switched it up and did good timing and all that stuff. He understands it. Ethan gets it.
It's saying like it happened because of the CPS call. I don't entirely blame your audience for getting confused because number one, it's a fucking cult. And number two, you can't even get the timeline straight. So if anyone's watching your dumbass, their brain is also going to get scrambled.
Oh, that's so bad. So bad. The timeline matters. You left it. He's so fucking lying here because he knows he left it out of his content cop because
intentionally. Yeah.
Yeah, because anyone who knew the context would be like, oh, he's not crashing out. He should be angry, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're a liar. You're a liar, Ian. You're a liar, Idubbbz. Why do you keep saying he's crashing out? Look, his kids are in trouble. He should be fucking angry.
Friends, as long as they're getting something out of it. So again, he's not showing the context. What was the okay, I'll play this part. Did you guys ever find the context of what I was talking?
How did he not know that he would get massive pushback leaving the context out? Did he think he'd just gaslight these people? It's funny. They often say, it's confession by projection.
Yes.
So when he says Ian is in a cult, or Ethan is in a cult, he's thinking his audience is a cult, and they'll believe anything he says, right? That's that's a confession.
It's confession by projection. Well, and it's not even, it's pointless because if Idubbbz had just said in his video, all he literally could have just said for 20 seconds, CPS was called on Ethan. I don't agree with this. I had nothing to do with this. Don't do that. But that's no excuse for him attacking. Like, that's all he had to say. And then no one could make that, no one could accuse him of leaving out the context.
No, that completely destroys that whole video because all of a sudden.
No, I completely disagree with you. Because
really?
people, if you just throw in your like 20-second, we talked about this. Most people, they don't even listen to the words you're saying. It's like body language and vibe and all this other stuff. You just throw it in there. You just quickly throw it in there. You just whisper it. You smuggle it in. You hide it in there so that when someone says, "Oh, you left out the context," like, no, I didn't. It was right there, right? I mean, I didn't. I spent 99% of the video not talking about that and crapping all over you, but I did have like this 0.1% where I did talk about it.
That's hilarious. It's so dishonest and shifty.
That's what most people do. That's how most people get away with this.
If you make it clear the context of the situation, then Idubbbz looks bad in his own content cop video. I mean, worse. I mean, he looks terrible already, but
correct. But to be clear, I'm not saying he should make it clear. I'm just saying he could have just snuck it in there.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Just to give himself some protection.
Yeah. Give himself some wiggle room.
Yes.
So when he weasels out of it.
Yes.
This is so bad.
Because I feel like I wasn't even talking about him. I could be wrong. I just don't remember ever saying like. If I did say that,
I thought you were talking about them, about Anissa and Ian in that clip.
That's the same clip of
It's all the
when
part of the same
CPS was
clip.
called.
Yeah.
Same clip.
It's part of the same conversation.
You completely wiped your brain of what happened during the CPS stream. That's not my fucking fault. That's no one else's fault but yours.
All I wanted for you to do was say the bare minimum of like, hey, this is fucked up. This is not true about CPS, whatever. Like the bare minimum. It came up because they were talking about it on their fucking podcast. By the way, they're the ones that like started this conversation by talking about it on the podcast. Be like, hey, I'm not getting involved.
I think that was their response after you guys initially called them out.
This is what I was talking about. You cannot have something terrible happen, be like, yes, let's make some content, and then shit talk your friends of 8 years.
I'm so fired up, I don't even know what to do with myself, which is why I'm crying. On that, I don't know if that's a good state to be in life.
That's that. Kind of spitting.
And a lot of the clips he uses is us fired up from the day that CPS came to us.
For anyone confused about the timeline, Ethan was talking shit about us on his Instagram before any CPS shit. He was also talking shit about us on his podcast before any CPS visit. On March 7th, CPS visits Ethan and Hila, and that same day, they decide...
So hold on.
Yeah,
It
what
would
was
be-
the talking shit?
Okay. Yeah, that would be nice. See, again, this is
Ethan
part of
begins
the,
publicly.
the dishonesty of the whole thing,
Right.
okay? Because you can't trust anything Idubbbz says because he's already proven that he's going to be massively dishonest. And his defense is, well, I think you were mean to me, so I get to be dishonest. All right. So
This is
why
a
isn't he
terrible
just
timeline.
So why doesn't he just show, instead of just saying, here's a timeline, this is
Show
why it
the
makes me very
tweet,
skeptical.
yes.
Show us the receipts of the actual specific thing that you're talking
The
about.
attack.
Say like, look, here's Ethan for no reason, just attacking. We're just minding our own business. We're skipping through the flowers, and then Ethan just attacks us for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Idubbbz
So it
is
says-
a cuck. Where's
Right.
the tweet?
So it says March 1st, Ethan begins to publicly attach this editor statement to Idubbbz. Well, wasn't
This
the thing?
editor statement?
I mean, this, I believe he talked about this. I believe Ethan talked about this. There was, Idubbbz had some editor that was some editor of his. I don't know if it was current or if he was a past editor that was like attacking them. He put this,
Right.
Ethan put this in his video. And I think he even said like, oh, you know, this was a past editor for
Right.
Idubbbz. Because I remember him talking about it.
Right.
And so that's probably, so if we read the tea leaves, probably what happens is Idubbbz editor comes out. He's making some crazy comments about Ethan. They contact Idubbbz and Nisa like, hey, you know, can you tell your past editor to like shut the fuck up or be chill or something? And they said no. And then the CPS call happens and then they contact him again and they're more freaked out about it. And they say, no, we're not going to do anything about it. And then they attack him on their podcast. That's probably exactly what happened.
This is like days apart. He's
Yeah.
showing March 1st is the linking was the first mentioned by Ethan. March 3rd is when CPS is called.
Mm-hmm.
So March 5th, Ethan shits on Idubbbz on his Instagram and on his podcast. So I guess that might be the CPS call.
Yeah. Well, okay. It would make sense to me. Like, I don't even blame Idubbbz originally for Ethan comes out and he's like, listen, your past editor, assuming it's past editor, you know, was like attacking us. Can you like do something about it? I wouldn't blame Idubbbz for being like, I don't have any control for what my past editor is saying on X. And I'm not going to like tell them to stop. Like that makes sense. Like that makes sense to me, especially before the CPS call. That makes I think it's completely fair for Idubbbz to say like, I'm not their father. Okay. I'm not their keeper. I'm not going to, you know, do anything about them. They're not working for me anymore. Right. But then from, I understand from Ethan's perspective too, even though I disagree with him at that point, that once the CPS call happens in his mind, he's sort of like conflating all the different people attacking them and the harassment is like leading up the CPS call, which is probably not exactly like it creates an environment, but it's not exactly like what happens. So then he comes back at Idubbbz and he's like, oh, you're helping to contribute to this environment that led to CPS being called.
Yeah. I think that's a legitimate claim. I understand. I mean, I would say I can't do anything about my former editor. Obviously, they're not going to listen to me, but I would just say, here's what I can do, right? I can come out
and defend you.
myself. Yes,
Yes, exactly. It's a great
As
point.
social proof. I could say,
Yes.
listen, I've been friends with Ethan for a long time. I've been to his house. He fucking loves his kids. There's no way anything is happening with his kids. And you should chill out. Leave him alone. I disagree with him on Palestine, but there's room for that without calling the police on him.
And especially after the CPS incident, it would make sense. Like, even if he didn't do it before, he could be like, okay, after. It's like, okay, this is pretty crazy, right?
He probably doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to make himself a target. He knows as soon as he does that, bad empanada is going to be calling fucking 100% on him.
Yes, because he doesn't want to be a target, and because I don't know, it sounds like his wife is like super, get rid of Israel too.
Sounds like she's in bad empanada's chat and shit.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Shit. He was also talking shit about us on his podcast before any CPS visit. On March 7th.
What's up?
Okay, no, because it says call the CPS happens on March 3rd. So I guess he didn't show up then. How does, okay, I'm a little confused about this timeline, but.
CPS visits Ethan and Hila, and that same day they decide, let's do our podcast, and let's have the topic be the CPS visit and how distraught we are about that. And then right next to that, right after it, you guys talk about me and Anissa. But you don't just talk about us. You shit talk us, and you imply that we're friends with people who are doing this, who are the ones who are harassing you.
Do you have evidence that...
I mean, that's true, though. That's just a fact.
H3 Snark called CPS on you?
Did I say that?
Random anonymous Redditors?
Did I say that?
Wait. What's the...
I said they're primary responsible for harassing me.
Who called CPS?
What the fuck? So, I don't know.
To be honest, I'm very proud that I didn't immediately jump to Ethan and Hila's defense, because when you look into the story, it actually looks a lot shittier for Ethan and Hila. And I do mean that literally. There was this H3 stream where Ethan was dumping as per usual. He was talking about his own health. He was talking about his caca breath, his dog having diarrhea, his dog having giardia.
Olive has giardia. It's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
His child running around putting things in their mouth.
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
The whole family possibly having giardia.
Oh,
and now Hila has giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my God.
Jeez, what can I do to not get it from you?
I'm trying
to, because I'm not trying to get it.
No, it's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
Talking about the viscosity of his child's shit.
And meanwhile, he is covered in viscous, low viscosity diarrhea.
He mentioned diarrhea a lot.
Crazy diarrheas, like in the middle of the night. All the time he's having these crazy diarrheas. You wash your hands as best you can, but these are really nasty diarrheas.
I said this when we covered this, because we covered the CPS call, that Ethan shouldn't be saying this shit on the podcast.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously. He thinks it's funny, baby shitting everywhere, right? Seems like a sketch or something. I get it. But yeah, you shouldn't be talking about this stuff.
This is complete incompetence. Yeah.
Right. I don't think Idubbbz, obviously, again, being dishonest, I don't believe he includes in this clip montage that later they said no one else had giardia. They just had normal diarrhea.
Right.
So it wasn't the issue that they were, speculating about.
I don't want to make excuses for the people who called CPS on Ethan, because it seems like that's what Idubbbz is doing here. I'm curious if Idubbbz is careful enough to say, just because Ethan is saying all this dumb shit on his podcast, which he shouldn't say. Like, I'm 100% against him giving people ammunition, giving crazy people in the world ammunition to come at you. That's just stupid, right? Why would you hand some psychopath a loaded gun and say,
well, we'll watch and you'll see if he says that. We'll see what he says.
But at the same time, we shouldn't live in a world where people are basically sending CPS to your house because they're fucking psychopaths.
Yeah, it's
the
the
world
whole,
we live in, though.
Of course. It's the whole, you shouldn't go out, in a dangerous neighborhood in the middle of the night.
Right.
Or in skimpy clothes. It's like, okay,
this is the dress thing. Yeah.
Yes. Like, obviously you shouldn't get attacked, but also you should show some, level of awareness.
Right. You got to walk that line.
Yeah,
here.
they're both things can be true at the same time. Yes.
And then extremely foul-smelling diarrheas.
So, of course, Ethan, having made so many enemies over the years, other people react to his content. And when other people see that he's talking about his children getting giardia from dog poop.
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
People are quite reasonably concerned. And so, yes, anyone who's seeing that content might be concerned enough to call CPS, including Ethan's own chat, which, by the way, is not a measly number. It's about 26,000 at the time of this stream. So there are 26,000 people listening to Ethan go into great detail over 7 or 8 minutes about diarrhea, viscosity of diarrhea, his child having giardia, him and his whole family having giardia. They're calling it the poop house. Now, what Ethan does, instead of taking any responsibility for sharing too much on his live stream, is...
Okay, so Idubbbz' defense of this is... Not only does he say that it was probably someone in Ethan's own audience that called CPS, but he said they reasonably called CPS, that it was a completely reasonable thing to do. Okay?
That is the implication here, which is fucking crazy.
Oh, it's not implication. He said it. He says reasonable concern. Okay. It's very explicit. It's like, again, he just completely destroys any credibility he has, any arguments he can make at this point, just completely lost. You're like, oh, okay, it was totally reasonable for someone to actually call CPS.
What would make it a reasonable concern? I mean, you have to know that Ethan is just a terrible father who doesn't give a fuck. Like if he went on to say he has giardia and I don't care, you know, I'm not going to take him. I'm not going to get him checked out or anything, right?
Right. There's some sort of abuse situation going on, you know, some sort of neglect situation. And the whole thing is it's the opposite of the neglect situation. He's talking about in detail how they're taking care of the baby and it's having all these like, you know, pooping everywhere, right? It's the exact opposite of neglect. You know, people know that Ethan is well off. They know that he has maids and shit that are, you know, cleaning the house. Like the whole concept of it doesn't even make sense. Like from a quote, a reasonable concern.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This isn't one of those like
reasonably concerned.
Right. This isn't one of those like, oh, it's one of those YouTube families and you see them do these videos and it seems kind of like weird. What's going on here? Like, oh, you have the 5 children and one of them, you keep seeing one of them in the video and he always sees them happy. It seems like the father is being abusive. The mother is being abusive of them or something.
Yeah. He's not locking the dog and the baby in the same room for 12 hours.
Right. Yes. Right.
Is that he decides to attack specific creators like Denim's and say she was the source of the CPS call because her chat was reacting to Ethan and saying, wow, this is concerning.
Is on her platform right now advocating for our children to be forcibly removed from us by Child Protective Services.
The problem with this CPS thing is that Ethan has proven to be a manipulative piece of shit. So when he calls on me to defend him, what the fuck am I meant to do? I don't trust you, and I'm glad I didn't trust you because in your video defending yourself, you used a video that takes context from like 3 different places and combines them to make it seem like someone is coordinating an attack on you.
Love that.
Well, wait a minute. So Idubbbz is claiming that before all the CPS stuff, he already didn't trust Ethan. That's what he's saying. He's like, oh, you called me to defend you, but I don't trust you when the CPS thing happens. Well, why did you not trust Ethan before? Like, what happened? Wouldn't that be important information to lay out? Like, if Idubbbz wants to create some sort of defense to say, well, I don't trust Ethan enough to defend him. Why don't you tell us what that information is?
Yeah, that is crucial information to understand the situation.
It's almost like he's just making shit up.
It is. It's like he just is coping.
Also, this criticism, because I saw it floating around, to me is so lame. So the criticism is that in the Content Nuke video, when they had Denim's chat and showing that people were like attacking Ethan or whatever, it's like they copy pasted different timestamps of the chat together to just have it like one long scroll of people criticizing Ethan. And I was like, okay, so?
But it was the same live stream, right?
I think so. And so it's like, well, who cares? Like the whole point is they were covering it. Her chat had this reaction to it. and the fact, like the idea that Ethan's chat is who called CPS on him, especially when him talking about that situation happened like in the past, and they didn't call CPS until like kind of exploded into the Bad Empanada denim sphere. And on Ethan's fans who continue to watch his content, Ethan said it wasn't actually Giardia that anyone had. They just had like a normal stomach virus or something. So all those people would hear that and they wouldn't call CPS. They'd be like, oh, okay.
It's ridiculous to imply that Ethan's audience called CPS.
Yes.
That's completely crazy. But he's basically just going as bad faith as humanly possible.
Well, and even when Idubbbz showed Ethan's chat, they were like, ew, they were like making fun of like the poop stuff. They're going, ew, gross, poop, 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 caca clients, right? He didn't show a screenshot of Ethan's chat saying, oh, you need to call CPS. But then when you look at Denim's chat, it's like CPS, CPS. You see all the chat talking about calling CPS.
He also says that he implies they're coordinating. They have a whole subreddit set up. Right. They are coordinating. How can you make that? How can you say they're not coordinating?
Well, then Idubbbz doesn't really help the coordination claim when he's like, oh, I'm going to fly out to Hassan and get all these people in the same room to dance and make fun of Ethan. So it looks like we're all coordinating because we are all coordinating.
Yeah.
Made a good point. You said, is this every comment? I believe this is a live feed of the chat. This isn't edited.
What about the top right? I thought these were
it's this. I think when you full screen it, no, this is an edit. It's a cutout of the full chat. That's just enlarged.
Oh, really?
Over the screen, yeah.
They're different, I think.
Yeah,
it's not timed. It's not timed the same way.
But it sounds like based on this clip, you knew that it was bullshit and you just went with it anyway. Ethan Klein uses this very deceptively edited video that is just like doing this smooth scroll to make it seem like that's all of Denim's chat. But that's not what it is. And then when he's called out on it, he hides it. He moves his window over the real.
The only criticism that would make sense to me to Levy would be, which I don't know, Idubbbz is not making this argument, but if he did say like, listen, they like made fake chats. They like wrote fake chats to make it worse. Then okay, 100%. Like that's just massively dishonest. But just taking different chunks of the chat at different times to create one smooth thing to just show like this was the mood of the chat. This is the vibe of the chat during the segment. It's like, who gives a shit? That doesn't change anything.
No big deal at all.
Chat.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other illnesses.
Reading the chat, co-signing
it's very, very, very dangerous.
Well, first of all, okay, no one who like watches content would look at this video of the chat very slowly scrolling up and think, that's
a real chat.
Yeah, everyone knows that chat goes like, but like it goes by at like this, very fast speed, and it kind of stutters, and like everyone knows it's not like a slow fucking pan. What the fuck? This is insane. This is an insane comment.
That is not a real chat.
Now pay attention to her
chat.
chat.
Have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit, and he has kids, and his kids like.
Why does it have to be anyone else's fault but your own? Take some fucking responsibility. It's just so bizarre that Ethan would expect Anise and I to make a statement when Denim's herself already made a statement about it and said that she does not condone calling CPS.
So we're talking about CPS. 1, I don't condone. 2, I've never condoned it, and you will not be able to find a clip of me saying, yes, we should do this, because it doesn't exist. I've literally given Ethan Klein credit on multiple times or multiple instances, and I will do it again right now, for not showing photos of his kids.
Part of my criticisms of Ethan initially.
Okay, well, there's 2 things. Number 1, Ian, it doesn't make you look good when Denim's is willing to say that you shouldn't do it and you're not willing to say that. Okay. That doesn't make you look good. That makes you look really shitty. You're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then number 2, also, it's like, it's this total crocodile nonsense of, oh, I'm going to, keep talking about how, disgusting your house is. I'm going to keep talking about how bad the situation is. Oh, somebody called the police on you? I mean, I don't support that. I just talked about endlessly about how bad of a parent you are and how crazy you are and what a bad environment is for children. I mean, but of course, I don't support calling CPS. Like, that's so dishonest. It's so fucking, and that's what they all do. They all do this stochastic, they always used to complain about stochastic terrorism, and then now they all just do it.
Now it's their go-to. Yeah, she made excuses about how, it wouldn't be traumatic for the kid because kids can't have memories from that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
she made
Where's that clip?
crazy fucking excuses for it.
Where's that clip, Idubbbz? Why don't you have the clip of her making up that insane thing about how children like can't receive trauma?
Yeah,
because they don't form memories or something.
She is not guilty at all. And I don't know. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe Ethan over asked. You know, when you're seeing the clips, obviously Ethan has some culpability here. I definitely think he got himself into this situation.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
By running his mouth. But look, if you came to me, Sitch, and said, I need your help, I would say, look, you got yourself in a situation because you were running your mouth. I'll help you out, but please don't run your mouth anymore. Okay.
Right.
That's not good for either of us. So, but a lot of these relationships on the between content creators is just completely superficial. So
what's the thing? I mean, they're Idubbbz and Issa are claiming it's superficial. Ethan and Eli are claiming it's not. I don't know if that's the case. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know the situation.
Was the openness. I think it's a problem that you are that open, Ethan.
Well, you know I'm very open about everything. It's part of how I wanted to conduct myself and how I wanted to relate to the audience is to be open as possible about every fucking thing in my life.
It is not strictly a benefit to be as open as possible on your podcast.
Ethan was just sharing his thoughts, what we were thinking, we were speculating.
Sonny's crawling around, he's putting everything in his mouth, he's at that age, he has giardia.
We were speculating.
And now Ela has giardia.
Shut.
Be open as possible about every fucking thing in my life.
Yeah, really? How many siblings do you have? I don't know, dude. The internet's too fucking weird to give out all that information.
Oh, you don't even want to say how many because you're afraid that it will
by all means,
compromise
keep
your
talking
privacy.
about it.
On top of
that's the episode that he hates, the Bill Barr episode.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan always talks about, Bill Burr completely destroyed him.
Remember when Ethan Klein talked to Bill Barr, the Attorney General for Trump's first term?
That wasn't it. Bill Burr. That's funny that their names are so close. Yeah,
that is interesting. Yeah.
So look, obviously, Bill Burr has a much different level of fame than Ethan.
Yes.
But Ethan, I mean, I guess Ethan just has the no filter. It's so weird because I know. So Ethan moved residences because he was sick of getting swatted and fucking all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes the extra step, pays tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars to like keep all the information top secret. So no one could ever dox him or find out where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately gets doxxed. Like, can you imagine spending all of that money? So you'd think Ethan might have a little bit of reservation about sharing personal information, right? Nah, not at all. He's out there on his podcast talking about all this shit.
Yeah, this is the only criticism I think that I agree with is like, yeah, he should learn to not talk about this stuff, right? We're not in, like, there was a time period, and maybe this is Ethan's thought process. I don't know, like if he was like a big Howard Stern fan or something, but like part of how Howard Stern became famous back in the day was that he would just literally talk about everything. You talk about his family, you talk about his parents, you talk about his dating relationships. You like everyone on staff would have to all talk about their personal drama because it would like create kind of like this entire world of drama that people would get lost in and everything. But that's like back when they're all doing it on radio, right? It's a little different environment nowadays. And I don't think you should really be doing that. If you do, you can do that, but if you do that and then, the drama leaks into your life in a way you don't like, well, then that's sort of the bed you made.
We have to go back to the olden days. So we have to get this situation where people can just dig into all your personal information on the internet worked out. Like nobody likes it. It's not good for anyone. It just opens up a world for scammers who are constantly trying to scam people 24/7. It's a bad way to live. So
it's going to get even worse with AI. Like this amount of scamming is going to be insane in the next like 5-10 years.
I think Congress could stop it, right? Congress could make all these websites that post your personal information illegal. They could make like a $10,000 fine for posting someone's personal information. I'd put a stop to it pretty fucking quick.
They could, yeah. I don't know why they don't.
Yeah, who is this helping? Who is this helping? All these fucking dirtbag sites that are compiling personal information on everybody.
It's a good
What's
question.
that for? What is that for?
How's
other
that
than other than
the public good?
harassers? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's not. It's fucking not. Yeah. They need to change it. Look, the world has changed. Get with it, Congress. Maybe they will. Since they're being harassed.
Ethan characterizing me and my wife as anti-Semitic, he also takes a dig at my tattoos.
Bro, you literally look like a fucking free tattoo pack that you get for 25 cents from a windy thing, bro. Like literally my kids have cooler fucking tattoos from Chuck E. Cheese. Bro looks like he just went to the menu and was like, I'll take that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one.
I have quite a
I agree with all that, so I don't know why he's
That's
putting
pretty
it in this
funny,
video.
and I agree with it. Yeah, exactly.
few options here. I can show your tattoos in all of their glory, or I can
Wait, does he he's like little lines? Those lines are those lines just tattoos? That's not tattoos, right?
Yep, I'm not seeing it, but I saw it for a brief second. The comment I would make is it looks like that's I don't know that Ethan posted
your
that.
tattoos.
I don't know that Ethan posted that.
Okay. I mean, listen, that's fair. That's fair. If
On
he's got
my
shit
way to
tattoos,
the
he's attacking you.
office. See you there.
You should you attack him too. That's totally fair.
Are those tattoos? That looks more like his kid got an ink marker and drew on
That's why
them.
I'm saying I'm confused. Like, it doesn't look like a tattoo.
Doesn't look like a tattoo at all. Looks like
Right.
he's got kids that
Mhm.
had some fun with him when he fell asleep on the couch.
In all of their glory, or I can show that your tattoo made it to the top of awful taste but great execution.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That's
Oh my
pretty bad.
God.
That's
Is that Gila? He has a tattoo of Gila?
yeah, I guess. Is there anyone that's ever got a tattoo of a face that's ever like not been terrible, like on their body? I feel like it's always just awful. Just don't get a tattoo on your. You get their name or whatever and a heart. Just don't get a face. It's just
Where is that tattoo?
right?
I mean, look, that says they're staying together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that tattoo age with Gila or with Ethan?
Subreddit, which is not a good thing. I mean, it might be a good thing for the artists that you work with because that means that they did a good job from a technical standpoint, but it's sort of a failure in every other aspect, particularly the decision-making aspect. If you want to go tattoo for tattoo, Ethan, we can do that. You want to keep it to other things, we can.
All right, this is some boring fucking shit. Nobody cares about your tattoos.
I'll give you that option.
Okay, so
Ethan also talks about the potential.
Listen, I looked it up. I was curious, and Idubbbz isn't doing any information. here,
Is that a
okay?
real tattoo?
It is a real tattoo. It's crazy. Okay. Listen, you could 100% shit on Ethan for this. He got these like weird, like they're supposed to look like kids drawing on him tattoos. And it's supposed to be like reminiscent of having memories of having fun with his children.
Look, all these tattoos are endearing. This just says the guy's a sweet guy. That's all it says.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a terrible decision.
Okay.
You're gonna get like lines, like you're gonna have tattooed on your body forever. Like, oh, it looks like my kids drew on me, like just random marks. That's not a good decision. That's a bad decision.
Well, I think it shows a level of love for your children that I think a lot of people would find endearing. You're not doing it to be cool. Look, Idubbbz is doing the tattoos because he wants to look cool, right? He's not
Right.
doing it because he loves his kids. It's just a completely different. These are different situations wholly.
Listen, you are correct. Okay,
Yeah.
there's two things can be true at the same time. It shows that Ethan has a lot of love for his children.
Right.
Okay, so much so that he's willing to permanently mark his body in a very lame way to represent that love. So when he looks down his legs, he thinks of them as laughing, giggling children running around with crayons. Okay. On the other hand, it shows that he probably doesn't have the best impulse control. Because I'm listening to this video, he talks about it. He's like just kind of decides to do this on the way to the tattoo place to just do this. So I'm just saying, shows his love for his children, but also I think, should have thought that one through a little bit better. Just my take.
Yeah, I mean, the motivation is important though, and this does not, in the context of this video, I don't think Idubbbz is making any dunks here. I think people can easily see, oh, he loves his kids. Now you're making fun of him for love.
That's why I didn't explain the tattoo. He just showed
Oh,
the
you're
picture.
right. He completely left the context out. You're right.
Yes.
Well, the context is obvious in the Gila tattoo that he showed, because that tattoo says he loves his wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he can't strip the context out of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is like attacking a man because he loves his wife and kids. Not a great look. Not a great look.
Uh-huh.
Potential CTE that I might have after boxing.
Yeah.
Ethan, your whole system is scrambled.
No, your brain is scrambled from getting punched in the face too many times because you don't understand the situation. Some people are saying the CTE is starting to take effect, I guess. That would be comforting if there was some explanation, at least.
Any amount of CTE that I may have endured after doing 2 boxing matches, I'm going to say is preferred over having to share the load of doing 50 jumping jacks with my wife.
Yeah, what if we we'll both do 25 at once?
25 each?
Oh my goodness.
Great form by both.
Really nice. They must work out.
Also, why are you talking about CTE at all? Like, you've continually illustrated that you can't keep track of anything.
It came up because they were talking about it on their fucking podcast. By the way, they're the ones that started this conversation by talking about it on the podcast. Be like, hey, I'm not getting involved.
I think that was their response after you guys initially called them out.
He can't even keep straight who attacked who first. He thinks that our podcast where we're expressing sympathy for him and Hila was the impetus for him talking shit about us. I much prefer boxing-induced CTE than harassment-induced CTE. Ethan acts like we're such great friends and that he shared such intimate moments with me, but it's all horseshit. He's lying. The whole thing is a fucking lie. He's manipulating his audience. We did not have a close relationship.
You guys were buddies for a long time.
He texted me one time hey, dude, we should talk this out. And I was like, I don't feel like having this conversation right now. That's it. So Ian kept trying to get me on the phone or text with me. And I told him, dude.
The problem with all this, because I could, no one really trusts anyone in any of these situations, right? Everyone seems to be shitty people, dishonest people. If this is all true, why doesn't Ian just show the text messages?
Yeah, I wouldn't
just release the text.
I don't want to
just leak the DMs. I want to see the DMs.
That's
Okay.
the one place I agree with him. I don't want to leak the DMs.
Leak the DMs. I want to see Ethan Klein being like, hey, bro, you need to come out and you need to defend us from the CPS call. And he's like, I'd be happy to. And he's like, and then Ethan immediately says, and you got to come on stream and you got to dance around and do the Fortnite dance. He's like, I'm not doing that, Ethan. That's cringe. Right. And then be like, oh my God, that's why he did the dance in his video. It all makes sense. There's context we didn't know.
When you leak DMs, you just make it impossible for anyone to have a private conversation with you about anything serious.
You're completely correct.
Yeah.
But for my sake, for the internet's sake, I want to see the DMs. I don't care about what Idubbbz future relationships are.
Oh, I want to see him too, but it's a bad move. I don't endorse the move.
Think of the content.
Well, yeah, it'd be nice to see.
Well,
they're probably hoping. I mean, they're probably both hoping the other one will release something so that they can go hog wild and release them all.
That's true. That is actually true. That's what's going on here. They're playing chicken with each other about the DMs. Yeah.
This didn't work. Remember when Sam Harris leaked a bunch of private messages and everyone just lost their minds over it? It's it's not good. It's not good. And from a producer perspective, obviously I DM with people constantly about being on the show and stuff. That would just fucking stop. If I started sharing DMs, they'd be like, oh, fuck. Yeah, not good.
Honestly, I don't feel like having this conversation right now.
Okay.
Fair, right? I just didn't want to do it. Okay.
Just in that particular moment, and then at all?
Well, it turns out I didn't want to talk to him at all.
Okay.
If the relationship was that close, you would have talked to me on the phone. You wouldn't have shit talked me. You would be curious where my brain was at and where I was coming from. There's this moment in the content cop where I'm trying to give an example of the...
Ian is trying to do like the have his cake and eat it too, where he's trying to say, hey, I tried to contact you, beforehand and you ignored me and we were trying to talk it out. But in the same video earlier, he's like, I'm glad I didn't defend you. And I didn't defend you, and I'm glad I didn't defend you. And it's like, oh, well, what are you talking about? Like, so you can't really make that argument then. You can't make the argument that like, oh, if we would have just talked it out, I would have come out and we could have been friends and I could have defended you. And then say, oh, but I actually didn't and I'd never had any anticipation to.
Yeah, if you wanted to publicly defend you, you should be prepared to get on the phone. So, but
cycle of
maybe they aren't as good of friends.
Yeah,
Still,
maybe.
look, even if they're just fucking acquaintances, this whole thing is not good for either of them. So, well, I guess it is good for Ethan. It's definitely not good for Idubbbz, but I think Idubbbz kind of threw the biggest punch here.
I don't know. It's weird because, like, I'm trying to think if someone that I was like internet acquaintances with, he's been on the stream, we've done some videos with, we're friendly with, right? Not like super friends with, but I'm friendly with. And they started to get harassed on some issue that I disagree with them. Okay. And they start getting harassed and people are calling their family and they think that I'm somehow related to it, our audience is somehow related to it. And they're like, Sitch, can you like just come out and make a statement about how, even if you disagree with me, don't call CPS. I'd say, of course. Like,
Yeah,
why
no
is that such a
problem.
bad, like that's so weird. Even if I wasn't that friendly, like, why is that such a crazy thing to do?
Well, even how I laid it out, Creator Clash would be a swimming success if he had just done what I said, where he basically went on the podcast. Perfect opportunity to go on the H3 podcast, right? And defend his friend and shill his fucking Creator Clash.
Yes.
But what a
exactly.
dumbass. He's like, oh, I'm going to go in a completely different direction. I'm going to go to Hassan's house.
But obviously, people shouldn't be harassing him or calling CPS or blah, blah, blah. He can't even do that because the environment is so toxic, especially in these, the far left and the far right environments are so toxic. And the far left on Israel and anything is so fucking toxic that even Idubbbz coming out and making that statement, all those people would turn on him and jump down his throat and they'd say, how dare you? Don't you know there's a genocide happening right now? How dare you make a statement defending, the government from trying to take his kids away? That's why he didn't do it.
Harassment. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of... Okay, what does that have to do with me?
I don't know.
Are you okay?
Ethan and Hila act like they have no idea what I'm talking about here. So, I mean, maybe they don't. It's a very obvious and easy to digest point. That's why I made it that way. I'm going to explain it here so everyone on the internet understands. When you have a podcast where you are constantly emotionally dumping and saying things just off the top of your head and you're attacking other people randomly, maybe from your perspective it's not attacking. Maybe you're just commenting on someone else's situation.
He's got to be one of the most visually repulsive people. FaZe Banks, like, in my opinion, he's somewhat repulsive to look at.
And be
pedophile. Pirate Software was like weird about it. It's like, look at my old voice, it's so lame. What an obnoxious loser. She goes, I can't believe these people are so obnoxious. And he looks like an idiot who's obsessed with me, dude.
But what happens when other people comment on your situation? It doesn't feel too good, does it?
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag.
It does seem pretty weird.
I don't know if you...
Okay. Yeah, I figured you had to go get something.
My package got delivered. My package.
His big package got delivered, everybody.
My giant package is here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope you left a big tip for the UPS guy.
No.
Just a tip on your package?
Sometimes I smoke them out, but
nice.
Not today.
It is bizarre to compare. You're like, look, Ethan, he's been mean to people. He's called them ugly before on his stream. Here's all these clips of him calling people ugly. Like, you compare that to the government coming to take your children away. It's so bizarre. It's so out of bounds. Like, everyone acknowledges it's out of bounds. It's completely disconnected from the conversation. Calling someone ugly and trying to get their children taken away from them.
Yeah, it's completely different, right? Obviously. It's like a whole nother level. If we're making fun of stupid people on the internet, we're not fucking calling CPS on their kids. It doesn't even compare.
Yes, the rules of internet warfare. Okay.
Yeah, look, families and kids are off limits.
Right.
Sometimes I feel bad. Everyone always is talking about Idubbbz' wife, but he does a podcast with her. So, right?
Zionist.
I mean, I defended Idubbbz years ago on the whole, like, I don't care if his, I think people are freaking out too much just because his wife's doing
right here on this channel
doing photos of, she's not getting fucked by the guy. She's just doing naked photos, like whatever. I think people are like, way too pissed off about that. I said that on a stream when that happened, but now it's like, I'm going to lean into it as hard as possible because he's acting like a fucking crazy person about this shit.
I came out and said, nobody wants their fucking girlfriend or wife to have OnlyFans.
Well, that's true.
People are saying our audio is bad, but is it my audio? Pull up the stream and see if you detect any issues. Everything looks great on my end, so maybe they're just fucking with us.
Baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
That is the back and forth I'm describing. You might have thought we were just saying that Ian and Anissa are bad friends. Well, guess what? We didn't take it that way.
Our POV is like, fuck everybody, and I don't want to hear any excuses. You're not my friend, and you never were, and you never will be. You never will be.
What we took it as is Ethan and Neil are shit-talking us. They just implied that we are okay with people using CPS as harassment, and now all of their fans are brigading us. So I am going to respond in kind and make a content cop. So yes, that is what the cycle of harassment looks like.
Okay, what does that have to do with me?
I don't know.
How about you fucking Nazis? How about that?
You might think that all of the harassment you're getting has everything to do with your politics and your idea of Israel-Palestine, but a lot of my gripes were centered around you dragging me into your shit. You knew that you were going through a lot, and you were saying, I'm hurting, I'm now going to make them hurt because they're not putting their head on the chopping block. Fuck you, you're a piece of shit. I'm sure there's anti-Semitic people that are...
It's very telling that he cast coming out and saying, hey, don't call the government to take someone's kids away. Ian categorizes that as putting your head on the chopping block. Why would you want to be part of a movement in an environment where simply telling people not to have the police come to show up to take their kids away is putting your head on the chopping block? If you're in that situation, if you're in that social situation, you're on the wrong side. You need to get out of there.
Yeah, that's a big red flag. Yeah, if you're worried about bad empanada coming out after you because you're standing by your friend, then like
those aren't your allies. Those are not your friends.
Yeah, why would you step up?
Go.
Why would you become part of that?
People that are attacking you guys, but they're not me. They're not Anissa. It's not Hassan. It's not all of these other creators that you're attacking. You're not the biggest victim on the internet, Ethan. Other people can experience a horrible fucking time. And guess what? They're not getting this other benefit, which is 26,000 viewers. You're getting a lot of money and a lot of content, a lot of things that you care about from these beefs and from this harassment. There are a lot of people that you've just bullied and they have nothing to gain out of it. Frogan isn't making a bag from this. She's not getting content out of this. You're attacking her in relentless ways and endorsing so much worse harassment than what even you send her way.
The shit he said and
Okay, wait. hold. What the? This is the most cock shit. This is how, when he says this, that all this is just ideologically possessed. That's like really what's going on here. It's just a combination of Idubbbz narcissism and his own ideology that he's been sucked into this, maybe with his wife, been sucked into this kind of far left nonsense. Okay. Frogan is a content creator who said both that October 7th was a good thing. All right. She said October 7th was a good thing, that all those people getting killed and raped and kidnapped, that was good. Okay. She said that. And then she also said that U.S. soldiers that have PTSD deserve it. All right.
Yep. Yeah.
And then on top of that, she's in this bizarre situation that because she fucking orbits Hassan and because the CEO of Twitch sucks Hassan's knob and glazes him on a daily basis, that she continues. First of all, she's allowed to platform this crazy fucking shit that if if her politics were different, if she was on the right and she said the right wing equivalent to any of this shit, she would obviously be immediately banned.
Yeah, of
From
course.
the platform, right? But the only reason that she's allowed on Twitch and the only reason that she even has any level of following and that Twitch keeps promoting her is because of her association with Hassan. And then Idubbbz over here is fucking white knighting for this horrible fucking person. Go fuck yourself. This is insane.
Yeah, it's totally ridiculous. She's only protected because she has that secret sex tape of her and Hassan. So
there you go.
Hassan
True.
is terrified of her leaking.
True.
I'm glad you signed off on that now. You can't stop me, Sitch.
I don't think, listen, I disagree with you. I don't think that Frogan and Hassan ever had sex. I think Frogan had sex with the CEO of Twitch. Because
that probably did happen.
Because the CEO of Twitch, he's trying to get with all these like Twitch e-thoughts, as we know when we look at his phone, but they're all like too hot for him and they're all like turning him down. So he has to just settle for Frogan.
She has been up and coming creator for the last 7 years in a row.
There you go. Exactly. Right. There's a whole new pun context what up and coming means.
Yes, of course.
She's a rising star.
Is it Dan Clancy? Is it his rising star that she keeps catering to?
Exactly.
Frogan
Very
over the past
nasty.
years is
Very
like
mean.
insanely nasty shit.
Yeah.
Worse than anyone I've seen. If this is true, absolutely mind-blowing, insane shit.
Hold on. It's not worse than anything you've seen. How could it be worse than anything you've seen?
Literally, no. I guess
he was
not.
very nasty. Well, I'm just saying, people like fucking want to like get lay down and fucking like.
I'm talking about
and
specifically
castrate,
against Frogan.
But like he called her fat, right, and ugly, which is horrifically mean. I get called a fucking baby killer.
I was talking specifically about
that's way
Frogan.
worse than being called fat and ugly, in my opinion.
Also, on top of Ethan
just needs to like stop this charade. Just be like, yeah, he called her fat and ugly. She is fat and ugly. She's a horrible person. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of Ethan and Neela constantly victimizing themselves, I did notice.
Oh, and so Tectone, it's funny because, Idubbbz reached out, when their main fighter for Creator Clash dropped out, supposedly they reached out to Tectone to ask him if he wanted to, sub in, and he said no. And part of the reason he said no was because he doesn't like Frogan and he doesn't like, Hassan and all this other shit. And, he called Frogan fat and ugly and he got banned. He got temporarily banned from Twitch and they brought him back. And Tectone, today or yesterday, went on stream and he said that when they brought him back, they literally told him, Twitch staff literally told him to just be nice to Frogan, to lay off Frogan.
No way.
Yes.
All right.
Like, stop being so mean to Frogan. Ew. And he was base enough to be like, fuck you. I do what I want.
Wow. That's great.
That as soon as we didn't immediately jump to Ethan and Neela's defense, Ethan took that to heart and he started to make that his employees' problems. Instead of just, sucking it up and taking on himself, he decided to imply that Lena is going to have a problem with that.
A lot of this has ramifications for the crew. The way that they have it set up is basically, if Lena were to drop out, she would lose, she would have to pay back $25,000 or something like insane. And besides that, which I told her I would cover if.
So they're paying creators $25,000. Is that the thing?
I guess.
Sounds like they're doing the same thing they did last time.
Right.
She wanted to drop out. She's been working really hard. And just because I'm having an issue with what's going on here.
You bringing up Lena dropping out of the fight was you publicly showing to your fans, I don't approve of this. You were saying this shit before the content cop even came out.
Which I told her I would cover if she wanted to drop out.
But now you are saying that you didn't have a problem with any of it until I made the video.
I was totally on board until the organizer put out a video calling me a psychopath for harassing his friend.
Obviously, Ethan and Neela will victimize themselves every chance they get. But when they have the chance to victimize someone else who's on their crew, they'll also do that.
You already forced Lena into this horrible situation. And again, you forced this situation on her.
I forgot to care about Lena.
Why would I do such a thing to Lena? Dude, you have as much agency as I do. You didn't have to badmouth me on your podcast. That was a choice that you made.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree. My good fucking...
Sounds like all of this is just salt over him saying "Go fuck yourself."
That's what it is. It's
The
all just
entire
salt.
content cop, just
Salt
salt
and drama. All the
How
drama.
dare you say "Go fuck yourself"?
Well, and also, like, it is interesting to talk about the sort of projection here. It really shows you how narcissistically detached Ian is. And I said this when we watched the content cop. His original content cops that he made, he didn't make them because he's like, oh, someone was mean to me. Someone insulted me. I'm going to make a content cop of them. He didn't do that. He said, this person is destructive to the internet at large, and they're being a piece of shit. So I'm going to make a content cop against them to expose their shittiness.
Yeah, people love that. They can
Right.
tip the scale, the moral scales back into alignment.
Yes, it had nothing to do with personal grievance. It was about this person is a bad person. But now, according to Idubbbz, and his own explanation is that content cop is just a vehicle for his personal grievances.
For his personal vendetta, his petty revenge.
His petty grievances. And the whole thing, he's complaining. He's like, oh my God, Ian is just, all he does is emotionally dump and use the stream for his petty grievances and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he literally used Content Cop for that exact thing. And he's completely blind to it.
Yeah.
The irony.
Press play.
You press play.
Okay,
You
I'll
press play. No, you hang up.
play.
You hang
now,
up.
Now someone's messaging me. I got banned for complaining about the audio issues. I'm telling you, it fucks up.
The chat said the audio was fine when I looked at it.
Yeah, everyone in the chat was saying the audio is fine. He's saying I refreshed the audio on my end and it was my end. So maybe refresh the audio.
Well,
on
don't
your
ban him
end
for
before.
that.
No,
Don't
I
ban
will.
people.
I will unban him.
Okay.
Obviously.
Okay. Jeez. We're on a tight
Yes.
listen. We're running a tight shit here, okay? You guys better fucking keep on your toes.
You know how I feel about bad audio issues.
Right.
Come on, it ruins the whole
Better
fucking
keep on
show.
your toes. All right, we're gonna do a if you say the audio's bad, you're gonna get an entire content cop react stream against you.
From me. I'm going after. Yeah,
I'm just gonna
going
put on
after-
the content cop uniform.
I'm going after you.
Yes.
Friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
Oh, the organizers of this event are not jumping to my defense? All right, well, maybe instead of shit-talking them, maybe I should zip it.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree. You already forced Lena into this horrible situation. And again, you forced this situation on her. By the way, Idubbbz, Lena's fucking having a panic attack.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
But you're just lobbing it to me and Anissa. I'm lobbing it back to you. You're the one who brought it up. If you lob it back to me and you say, well, I didn't have your back publicly. Well, fuck you. I'm going to lob it back and say, you're being irresponsible on your podcast and you're not taking any accountability for the shit you're putting out online. I think that's going to do it for this video. There's a lot more that I can share, but I'll save that for the future. And in closing, I will reiterate so that, you know, there's no ambiguity about it. Anissa and I are no longer involved in Creator Clash. We're stepping down completely. We hope that the event is a massive success this year. We hope that all of the fighters get what they wanted out of it. I'm sorry that I'm such a fucking nasty person who just wants to roll around in the shit. I'll put the link to Creator Clash down in the description if you want to support them in their mission to get creators to fight and raise.
Okay, fuck you and your background music. We're moving on to super chats. This fucking schlep. This
All around.
This skinny tard.
Terrible.
What are we allowed to say?
Terrible narcissism. The narcissism is off the charts here.
We got this guy over here tone policing us.
Yes.
Jeez, I never thought he'd be the content cop for evil.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was going to be corrupt content cop.
It's so fun. Like, imagine like Batman, you know, Batman goes into retirement. Okay. He's like, I'm too old to protect Gotham. And then like after like being gone for 10 years, Batman's like, I'm coming back. I'm putting on the Batman cowl and the cape. I'm going to come back. And he comes back. He's like, I'm just going to beat up people who are mean to Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actually going to stop crime anymore. I'm not going to protect people from the Joker. But if you shit talk Bruce Wayne, then I'm coming after you. People are like, what the fuck happened to Batman?
Yeah, that'd be
Weird.
Fucking, that
Some
would be
weird shit going on.
All right, I didn't ban anyone for the audio, but I did time them out. So
there you go.
I'm not sure I can untime them out. So I guess
It'll be
you'll
fine.
see you guys tomorrow.
Adam Godbot, thanks so much for 33 months. Says no intro today. Not even a hey now or hello there. Dang, this is serious business today.
Look,
hello there.
We got to reinvent ourselves. We know how it works.
Yeah. Speaking of hello there, oh my God, there's a massive split right now. Oh my God, a huge political fallout on
What
the
is
right
it?
at the moment. Okay.
Are you talking about the thing I sent you?
I am talking about the thing you sent me. There's
That
a
thing I
massive
sent you.
political split. Okay?
Civil war.
On the right wing. Okay. And
You
I
want to cover that on Thursday?
I fucking hate this. Should I hide it? Should we hide what it is? I don't know if it's worth covering all on the stream. Okay.
Nah, we'll just talk about it now. We
Okay.
won't cover it.
I fucking hate to say it, really. It pains me in my soul to say this. But I have to take Matt Walsh's side in the Civil War.
Matt Walsh's side?
Walsh's side.
That
yes.
transphobic bigot?
Well, I'm okay with the transphobic.
Oh my God. That's comedy gold.
I had to take Matt Walsh's side here. All right. Matt Walsh is 100% correct when he says that the Star Wars prequels are dog shit. Are terrible movies.
Right.
Oh, he came out and he said it. He attacked. And I was like, oh, thank God. He's completely right.
I tried to watch Star Wars Theory's video defending the Star Wars prequels. And I mean, I was like, Matt Walsh is making some good points here. It was uncomfortable. I didn't like it. I didn't like agreeing with Matt Walsh either. So
that's hilarious.
So I did a Homer Simpson and I backed away into the bushes. I was like, okay, this is uncomfortable. So
I think, and this also came out because I don't know if you saw JD. Oh, I guess you did. I sent to you. JD Vance came out saying that the prequels were good, which, listen to me. I just read cynical. He's like, I'm just trying to he knows where the audience is. He knows where the Zoomer energy is. Right.
Right.
He's just going to capture the Zoomer, this sort of like weird, this weird nostalgic idea that some people have for the Star Wars prequels being good.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be on much firmer ground if you were arguing that they were not
as bad as the sequels.
Yeah.
You say like they're better than the sequels. Now you have an argument, right? Say that they're actually good. Like,
that's a bridge too far. Yeah.
You could say you like them. That's fine. I like bad things, right? I like Dragon Ball Z, right? Like a lot of people, like things in their childhood. That's fine. I like the original Beast Wars. I know like the CG looks like fucking, it looks like a kid playing with Legos nowadays. I get it. It's fine. But I'm not going to pretend. You could say these things are not good. That's fine.
I'm waiting for them to pull the room angle, right? It's so cringy. It's good, right?
Listen, I would accept that argument.
Yeah.
I would accept that argument because there's this massive explosion of people, doing all the Star Wars memes and they were funny, right? They memed the movie it's like Minecraft. Like people memed it so hard that like the cringe became enjoyable, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But just understand what it is. All right. Don't give me a cringe sandwich and tell me, okay, that it's delicious souffle.
Right.
It's not.
Shady Durag says it perfectly. The prequels have a good premise, but bad execution. When people talk about the prequels in videos and they lay out a plot summary of the prequels, I think, oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, what was that movie?
Yeah, but then you watch it and you're like, oh, this is just none of that plot is getting through in the execution, which is a huge problem. I mean, that's basically the problem that Matt Walsh points out.
Yes.
I don't know how you can, and that's the people who defend the prequels are arguing that is explicit, that story that is underneath all the horrible execution is obviously there. And I'm like, oh, it's not obvious. And that's just such a huge part of filmmaking, right?
I think what's going on too is like, if you read, this is like a very weird take. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you listen to Jordan Peterson talk about the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to Jordan Peterson talk about the Bible, he's like, he's talking about Cain and Abel. This is such a deep story. And if you like, you read,
his rendition is so much better.
Right, it's like a 1-paragraph story. It's like the shortest story ever. Okay, he'll take like 1 paragraph or 1 sentence, and then he'll like expound on it and make it this like amazing deep thing. And you're like, oh, that's like super cool. I don't know if that was the intention when it was written in the text, but whatever. It's super cool. And you can, and a lot of old stories are kind of like this, where there's not a lot of details. They're sort of like mythically symbolic. It's just like the broad strokes. And then you can kind of like project into it like the connective tissue sort of to make it work. And I think a lot of people do that with Star Wars because, yeah, I agree. There's like a premise there that's interesting about, Palpatine creating this, political conflict in order to gain power. And this idea about like, well, Anakin, because of his experience as a child, believes that there needs to be more order in the universe because he was a slave and his mom was killed. And you kind of have the whole order versus security and freedom thing. Like there's a lot of like, there's ideas there that if were actually fleshed out could have been super cool and good, but they obviously weren't. So here we are.
Yeah. You're kind of in the same realm with situations like The Matrix 4, where it's like, oh yeah, this idea is still there and it's great, but the execution is such a fucking train wreck.
Right.
You've lost any goodwill the audience has. I like to call what you're pointing out here specifically the headcanon problem, because like if you're forced to create a headcanon to make the situation work, then that's bad. All that stuff should be explicit and in the movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will try to make themselves seem like, giant brainiacs and say, oh, it's there. It's super subtle and you're completely missing it. And I'm like, no, you're completely pretending that some little interaction is making the point that you want to make, but it's not. It's not making that point at all. Well, if the communication is completely missed by 99% of human beings on the planet, you can't make the argument that, oh, it's there, it's just subtle for me, the super genius, the one that wants to see it so badly.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between like some filmmaker putting something subtle in there because they expect the audience to like comb through the movie, like you're playing Blueprints or something.
No.
Versus like there's something in there that's just kind of vague and they didn't really have any idea or point, or like they didn't know what the answer was. And then people just project into it whatever they want.
Right. They came up with a better answer on the internet and everyone's like, oh yeah, of course that's what they intended. Like, right. I mean, I admire filmmakers that will just come out and say, oh yeah, that's what I intended.
Of course. Well, of course. And that's what a lot of like the mystery box shows nowadays, they do have that issue where it seems like Westworld. I don't know if you ever watched the first season of Westworld was so much like there's all these like weird hints and clues and like secrets and all these things. And when you get to the end of the first season, none of it makes any sense. And it's all just stupid. And you're like, oh, they just like threw a bunch of shit in there and people got hyped up, like coming up with all these theories. And then when you get there, you realize they had no answer to any of those questions.
Yeah.
So anyways,
the big thing when I originally saw the prequels was the retconning of the Force. That was the thing that really just felt like spitting in my face.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like,
Right.
Yeah. Well, just because obviously I've grew up with the original Star Wars trilogy, and that was just such a big part of culture. The Force was this mysterious thing, and it was great. It did become part of the culture, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh no, it's just whoever has the right metachlorian count, they're the ones that get the Force. And I was like, oh man, fuck you.
Caleb for $10 says Hassan is actually pushing the charity today while he watches Ethan's content nuke. Oh wow, well there you go. Look, he's fine. Listen, better late than never, right? He's finally, now that they're finally giving back people's refunds, Hassan's like, I'm comfortable to push the charity. Yes.
Is he pushing Creator Clash or is some Hamas charity?
I'm assuming he means the Creator Clash charity.
I'm not sure. We'll see.
Hey, maybe we'll get some more good content of Hassan reacting to the content nuke finally. Jeez, it took him like a month. And he had to watch like 10 other people's reactions to it first. Also,
people really liked our Sunday show, so
yes. It was a great debate. Also, this year the tickets are for expenses while they push the charity alongside it. It's not even a charity event. Really? Interesting. Okay, what does that mean? Does that mean that, wait a minute, does that mean that when you buy a ticket to go to Creator Clash, 0% of that money goes to charity? You have to like buy a ticket and then also donate money on top of that to go to charity? Is that what that means? Because that's crazy if that's what that means. That's interesting. Stuck for $5 says, shouldn't he start calling it content social worker since ACAB and all that? That's a good point. That is a good point. Yes. Valve Go for 34 months says, empathy is when you promote conditions that harm a minority group so you can score political points. That is true. That is empathy. Yes. Jay Hendricks for $2 says, quote, how dare you call me a Nazi, you Zionist? That's pretty funny. Which we learned.
Mr. Ubercross gave 20 gifted memberships.
I did. Thank you so much, Mr. Ubercross, for 20 gifted memberships.
Welcome new members, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a hefty super chat, so.
Thank you.
Anyway.
But yeah, and as we know from Hassan, and it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that Idubbbz has a similar definition of Zionism as Hassan, that if you say you're a Zionist, it is the same as saying you are a Nazi, that you're in favor of genociding people. So
Max Relax says, Adam is upset because he has very few metachlorians, which I gotta admit is fucking hilarious. I pinned the comment. So did you know that Lucas, first of all, Lucas is the original retcon criminal, okay? That was the first offense, the first retcon offense on the table. I mean, you might be able to pull out some other ones, but that one was pretty bad. A lot of people hated it, obviously. Culturally, it came out as not so good. Did you know that George Lucas wanted to make the entire sequel trilogy that Disney ended up making about an exploration into the science of the metachlorians?
Okay. I mean,
he basically wanted to make the argument that the metachlorians were like life and that we were just vehicles for the metachlorians.
Sounds kind of like he's trying to go in like the Dune direction with like the spice and everything.
Is that it?
To some extent.
Maybe he was super influenced by the Dune thing, but
I mean, listen, it sounds silly to me. You can make any story interesting. Listen, like George, I'm autistic. I like when properties and stories dive deep into interesting lore and like rules for power sets and all that stuff. So,
right.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't trust George Lucas because of how the prequels came out. I wouldn't trust him to, do that effectively. So,
right. Yeah. He didn't seem to have the writing chops to execute something, writer director chops to execute something like that. I think it's funny. He did have the presence of mind to realize that audiences might be upset about that.
Yeah.
I saw this in an interview with him where he was talking about it. So I thought it was kind of crazy because a lot of people look at George Lucas like Disney completely shit on him, which they did to some extent. They threw his treatments away, but, and then made fucking terrible movies. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So,
yes.
But anyway, we can move on. I just thought it was funny.
No, it's
Are we good? Are we done with super chats or
no?
Oh, okay. I'll bring them up.
Become the Knight for 25 months. Thank you so much. Says my mind is blown seeing the depths of dishonesty, stupidity, and degradation Idubbbz has fallen into. Almost as bad of the fall as Boogie. There you go. That's true.
Yeah, we're crazy levels of depravity here.
Yep.
Very sad to see these content creators. Who am I kidding? This is fucking.
It is fun.
Fun as
That
hell.
boy for $10 says there's literally a video of Hassan buying the sword because of the hilt. Also, what's up with YouTube autocorrect? I can hardly type.
I don't know. Yeah. But the chat, I mean, we don't have any, I mean, we have very light censor words just on the really naughty stuff. So.
Well, YouTube has its own censorship that we don't even control because people are always talking about how they like can't just say like normal curse words sometimes. And I mean, that's not from our end. So.
I wonder if that intro is going to get us demonetized. I'm curious.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
We'll see how it turns out, but that was fun anyway. I thought it was a good intro. Squeeze
Louise for $10 says, I can fathom that they might have actually completely accidentally grabbed that sword. What blows my mind is no one is willing to just say, yeah, that was a bad look. We shouldn't have done that. I mean, that's part of it.
True. Yeah.
That's part of it. I think they did intentionally. I think it's impossible, but
they
fair
see
enough.
themselves as above reproach, though. They're like, oh, how
They do.
dare you accuse me of anti-Semitism while I have this Nazi sword in my hand? I'm completely
Right.
innocent. You know me, bro. Come on.
Right.
No microaggressions here. That's what Ethan's argument has constantly been. He's like, dude, you're microaggressioning me.
Well, and it's just because the irony, because that was always what they did to everyone else. They're like, oh, you made an off-color joke, or you said something, right? You held up the okay sign.
Well, this was part of his heel turn, because he
Yes.
used to be on the side of Jordan Peterson, where he was like, people are blowing everything out of proportion. Free speech is important. We need to be able to make edgy jokes. And then he did a heel turn where he was like, oh, these Jordan Peterson podcasts are very offensive. I have to delete them all. I'm going to do a Leftovers podcast with the biggest socialist on the internet.
Yep.
He did a full on heel turn. That's why I often say I got plenty of problems with Ethan. Ethan started off as someone who seemed to have a great moral compass, to someone who is trying to be Joe Rogan of the left now. He's trying to climb the political hierarchy. Anyway,
Sketch for $5 says Content Cop 25 is what would have happened across the country if defund the police was successful.
Oh,
Very true.
so true.
So true.
Yeah, that's what he wants to happen.
Last of the Mohicans for $5 says, make no mistakes, Idubbbz doing this shit has nothing to do with leftism or socialism. It's purely submission and cucking to Hassan.
Is it?
I don't know. It feels like he buys into all that. At least his wife does. It feels like his wife buys into all that shit. So
yeah, his wife has done a number on him. I would just
Right.
say, look, it wasn't that bad, okay? Some people might have had some bruised feelings, but this was like a lot of time has passed. I doubt they're sitting around going, oh, Idubbbz ruined my life. Yeah, I made some response videos. Who cares? I mean, you agree, right? It's just kind of blowing everything out of proportion.
Of course.
The punishment has to fit the crime. Everyone gets that.
Coding Jesus for 21 says, how are all these content creators that learned about Israel yesterday have never been anywhere close, have so much conviction in their opinions? Because they're told to.
Yeah, because it's the thing. It's the new thing that everyone's getting upset about. Well, and they probably show them the charred babies from the airstrikes and stuff like that. It is, you have to kind of be inhuman not to recognize that that's a horrifying situation.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Thos Apprentice for $5 says, I recently learned that Anissa has a thing for Chris Reagan, but settled for Idubbbz. Do you think that explains the Francesca Ramsey thing? Wait, what? I need some receipts for that. Hold on. That is a crazy claim. I want some receipts. Is that true? Did she admit that? Like, I could see Anissa being so crazy as to admit that. And it's so
The
fucked up
Francesca
to say
Ramsey
that.
thing is Francesca Ramsey went on Olay's podcast and was talking about Idubbbz, but everyone thinks she was really talking about Chris Reagan.
Chris Reagan, right.
Yeah. And mixing the two up. So, and Francesca Ramsey is a black content creator who would be the first person to call you racist if you mistook her for some other black content creator. So that's what makes it funny. She can't tell these white guys apart, but of course, Anissa can tell these white guys apart because one of them is second fiddle to the other, right?
What is the? Give me some receipts on that claim. I want to see it. I want to see it, Doth. I want to know the drama.
Sitch doesn't like to speculate. He wants to know the truth.
If that's true, that's fucking crazy. If that's true,
why?
That's horrible. Oh my god.
Horrible for who? For Idubbbz?
For Idubbbz
is like,
yes.
She probably makes him wear a Chris Reagan mask in bed. What do you think?
I believe it.
She's like, here, Ian, can you scrouch down a little bit so you're a little shorter? I like him about 4'9".
Right.
Sitch is reading the chat.
Mag.
This joke is killing it.
That is. Mag for 33 months says there are so many flashes of the old funny Ethan because of this drama. I actually started watching the H3 podcast again. His takedowns are gold. I know it's sad. You can see it.
He was hilarious. We covered it all on the Sunday show, and man, he was making me laugh right and left. Even all those intros with the gloves are off.
That's progressive values.
Yeah.
It is funny. Ethan's content, regardless of how anyone feels about the politics, was at least
funny. Yes.
50 times funnier than anything Idubbbz did.
Yes.
Recently. Hypnotoad for $2 says the DMV sells your info. Congress made it a business. Wow. Congress got to get on that. Make that illegal. Stop that shit. Okay.
Are these little dirtbag websites though, or the ones buying your info and posting it? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But if it's true, stop it. Kathleen Cohn for $10 says to find out who reported the CPS, simply file with the FBI using the Freedom of Information Act. Yeah, but it depends. Does the CPS even know?
I'm sure the person used a fake name and
they just
call and did all that shit they always do.
Well, they said that CPS told them it was an anonymous report or something. I don't know if CPS was just saying that it was anonymous, and they do know, but I could believe it was just they have no way of knowing. So
right. Well, they probably pointed him to the live stream. CPS watched the live stream clips completely out of context and thought they had enough to move.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, someone probably edited them and showed it to them. Like they just showed them like the clip compilation. So
yeah.
Oh, Dr. Diller says he has the receipts and he's going to DM to me. Okay, I'm interested. Mike Mills for Jared says, "Are you guys going to cover the Shiloh Hendricks thing?" I don't know. Should we cover that? Should we talk about that now? Should we talk about Thursday?
I don't know that I'm like a good perspective on that. I don't really know. I mean, what's the situation? The woman basically got a viral video made of her where she was calling some black kid who was trying to steal her kid's toy bag or something, the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
Some other guy filmed it and posted it on the internet. So he's basically trying to get her in trouble. He's trying to incite a hate mob on her. Who am I supposed to root for? I mean,
well, that's the whole thing.
All these people seem fucking detestable to me.
Right. Well, Ben Shapiro had a pretty good line about this actually. And maybe I'll bring it up. Maybe we'll bring it up at some point, where he's basically saying that like everyone in these situations is all terrible. No one should be supporting any of this stuff. And we should be trying to get back to a principle that's good for everyone, not just whataboutism, and say like, well, because people were bad in this other situation, that allows us to be bad in this situation. That's never a good way. That's never a good moral framework to be operating under.
Yeah. The black kid that stabbed the white kid and killed him, I hope that guy goes to jail. Fucking right. That is a horrible thing that happened. It doesn't justify this situation. I saw somebody posted that they looked into her and they didn't charge her with anything and they were upset. I'm like, she didn't do anything fucking wrong, okay?
Well, why would? Well, I mean, I don't think you should call a 5-year-old kid the N-word, but she didn't do anything legally wrong. I don't think she'd be legally actionable. For that.
She didn't do anything criminal. Yeah, let me make that clear. Yes. Right. And
hold on, I'll be right back. You keep on it.
The guy recording her, I mean, that gets under my skin more than anything because he's literally trying to. He is actually trying to incite a hate mob to go after her. He's out there He's like, he realizes he's got this clip and he's going to call her out on the internet. And he knows there's a hate mob on Twitter and TikTok and all these different platforms. Actually, probably more Blue Sky now, but he knows that those people are going to go after her. they're going to find her address and information. They're going to make her life hell. They're going to dox her, swat her. They're going to do all these horrible things. And those horrible things do not fit the crime. Okay. I don't condone her calling some little kid the N-word, but ruining someone's life because they did that. I don't know if she's having a bad day or what. Like, people say stupid shit when they're having a bad time. Some guy with their camera all up in her face. It's not
okay.
It's not good conduct for anyone in this situation. Right. So
okay.
if there was a give, send, go to what can you even do to the guy behind the camera that's trying to incite the hate mob towards her? He didn't look, this is totally wrong what he did, but I don't think it's criminal. I don't think there's any action that you can take.
Well, now that my bladder is empty, I can give my full take.
You can think about it.
I can actually like voice my opinion. Okay. Well, just with that guy, because that's what you're talking about. I mean, that guy, that whole thing with that guy is fucking weird, because it's like he's like an immigrant, and he was in the UK, and he was charged with sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl. And the whole story is like fucking real sketchy.
The guy who filmed the video?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Thank God. Call fucking ICE on him and throw him in prison in El Salvador.
Right. And so I mean, that whole thing is fucking crazy. So he's accused of this in the UK. Then the UK government, it's like a super weird, sketchy situation where there's like a 16-year-old girl who's in like a foster care situation, or she's, the government has her in like a.
So he's a worse scumbag than her.
Well, hold on. Oh yeah, no, this guy's a horrible piece of shit. But then she like runs away, and then somehow she like stays at this guy's house, and then they're like accusing them of raping her, and then she supposedly said that didn't happen. So then the state dropped the charges against him, but then he's being held up for just assault and battery charges against another person. Okay, him and some other people are being accused of beating up somebody. So this guy, so then that's going on while that's still pending. He somehow ends up in America. We're like, how the fuck did he end up in America? How did he get into America in the first place? So the whole thing seems fucking crazy. And then on top of that, people are like, what the fuck? You have a guy who's accused of sexually assaulting a minor and now is being accused of beating up someone. Why were they even on the playground in the first place? Do they have children? Or are they like filming children? Why the fuck is this guy there? Like, the whole thing is so sketch as shit.
Well, he probably has a give, send, go that he's made $500,000 off of.
I fucking hope not. So that guy needs to 100% be investigated, be thrown in jail, be deported. Get that guy out of here, right?
Yeah, good. I'm glad there's something on him.
Right.
That's good.
No, so okay, so like the full context is, it's really weird. So you have this story where there's a black kid at a football meetup, and he stabs a white kid who's on the football team, and the kid dies. And the black kid and his family is claiming it's self-defense, and obviously, the white kid's family is saying it wasn't self-defense. And it's like this, but it creates like this really like fucked up situation, because there was a press conference after, everyone's arguing about like, was it self-defense? Was it not self-defense? And then there was a press conference that the black kid's family held afterwards, where the father of the kid who's dead like showed up, and he basically wanted to say like, okay, we should just like, bring the communities together, and we should just like, kind of be magnanimous and pray and try to get through this like together. He seemed to be coming from a good place, and they kicked him out of it, and they were like super like massively disrespectful and weird about the entire situation. And so that put like a really bad taste in everyone's mouth, outside of obviously, the original incident.
Yeah, me too. Fucking horrifying.
And then that kid's family started doing a GoFundMe or a Give Send Go, where they're raising a bunch of money because they're saying that their family was being attacked and all stuff, which they probably were. And then that kind of led to another weird situation where people were reporting like, well, the family immediately moves to like supposedly some gated community, and they buy a new car and all these other accusations that they're like using the money in ways that are not towards the legal fund of their kid's defense, which is what the thing was supposed to be. So a lot of people have a lot of questions about, the family, their behavior, outside of obviously the original stabbing. They have a lot of a lot of thoughts about that, and all that stuff is totally fair. And then on top of that, in the Give Send Go, a lot of people in the comment section of that were like saying like super crazy, bad, racist shit against white people. Like it became this like super weird like racial thing where like, oh, it's really good to like kill white people, blah 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 blah. Like, it's totally crazy. And the CEO of Give Send Go, when he was called out on this, was all like, oh yeah, I don't agree with that, but free speech, free speech, free speech. Like, he was like really pushing the free speech angle, right? Which, I mean, like I get,
guy.
but I don't think people should be advocating like racism and killing people in the comment section of Give Send Go. Like, I think if they wanted to tap down on that, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think that's totally fine.
No, he's free speech when it's on his political beliefs, but obviously when it's the other side of it,
well, that's
Nazis
where we're gonna
to show up,
right?
And,
that's where we're gonna get. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is all
someone
just
drops
like
an N-word, and oh my god,
right. So this is all just like the background context. Okay, so all that's happening. So while all that happens, then you have this story come out, where this woman accuses, because this part's not on video, obviously, but this woman says that there was this kid at a playground who was black who was going into her baby bag and taking something from it. I don't know if we know what was taken, but taking something from it, trying to take something from it. And actually, it looks like in the video, it looks almost like she's chasing him, like he's like running away or something. And you only see like the kid for like a quarter of a second in the video from the crazy, maybe sex offender guy. He's the one that's saying the kid is 5. I don't know about that. I'm like, when you look at, if you freeze it, that kid looks pretty tall to be 5. So I'm a little skeptical that he's a 5-year-old.
at all. Yeah,
he looks like he's more like
a
8.
teen.
No, not like a teen. He looks more like he's 8 or 9, like old enough to know not to be stealing shit, right?
He's 45.
Okay, probably not 45. And it kind of looks like maybe he stole it and got caught and was kind of like running around and being like an asshole about it, right? And so that seems to be like maybe that was a situation that was going on. We don't know exactly what happened. And so this woman calls this kid like the N-word, which obviously shouldn't fucking do. That's kind of a crazy response to the situation, right? Instead of trying to get like the kid's parent and be like, what the fuck, your kid stole something, to call him the N-word. It's kind of fucked up, but okay, whatever. So she calls him the N-word, and then he starts filming her, and she doubles down and calls the kid N-word again, calls him the N-word, blah, 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 right? So obviously not great. She shouldn't have done that. Not a good situation. Does someone deserve to have their life ruined because in a heated moment they called people the N-word? Obviously not.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Obviously not. Right. But so then when the video goes out, obviously the crazy, maybe sex offender guy posts a video in an attempt to cancel her. And she starts getting all this hate. And then it kind of has like this backlash effect where then all these people start defending her. A lot of it coming from sort of the Groyper movement is like really like leaning hard on, defending her and saying, oh, she's super based and all this other stuff. And they're kind of doing this weird thing. And this is why it's like obnoxious to talk about. They're doing this weird thing where they're like trying to, like, it's very obviously the white nationalists that are like donating all this money to her and propping her up. That's very obviously what's going on. But then they're trying to do this thing where they frame it in such a way that it has appeal outside of sort of the white nationalist sphere. And if you criticize it, they try to do this sort of, how dare you compare stabbing someone in the chest to saying the N-word, which I'm not doing that. I don't think people are doing that. It's kind of like a weird, like, what are you talking about? Like, you could say, okay, I think it's bad that someone stabbed someone in the chest and they died. I think it's bad that someone called the child the N-word. Like, these are two different things. It's very reminiscent. It's kind of interesting. It's very similar to Hassan in the Ethan situation, where Ethan calls out Hassan doing something bad, and then Hassan says, you can't talk about that because of genocide happening, right?
Right.
And you're like, well, okay, that's, how is that related to this? It's a completely different thing. But so that's kind of like the movement, and that's kind of how the whole thing is like breaking down right now on the internet. So then she starts up like her own Give Send Go to raise money because she's getting threatened, harassed, and doxxed, which obviously she shouldn't be getting. And she's raising all this money. I don't know what it's like now. I know when I last looked at it, she's raising more money than the guy.
She was close to $600,000 when I looked at it. So.
She raised more money than the guy, the kid's family who stabbed and killed the person. And it was really weird because there was like these like sort of white nationalist accounts, like Elijah Schaefer and all these other people that are like, we're winning, the whites are winning. And I'm like, okay, donating money. like you have people donating money to two assholes, and that's categorized as winning. That's fantastic. All right. Giving your money away to an asshole for being an asshole is somehow winning the race war. Sure, whatever. And then you had people in her comment section obviously promoting, saying the N-word, saying a bunch of racist shit or whatever. So then the Give, Send, Go CEO comes out and they simultaneously close the comments on both Give, Send, Go things because everyone's being so racist.
Oh, what happened to free speech?
Right. And so
that
yes,
was all free speech.
Of course. And so then the massive hypocrisy of it, and this is completely valid and true, is, oh my God, you were like letting all these people say this crazy shit, and then you only close it down that now that people are saying the N-word and saying race shit against black people in this lady's Give, Send, Go.
Why they just can't defend white people to save their fucking lives? Which look, if we're gonna have a society where we're not gonna allow people to be racist pieces of shit, because you've got a personal business interest, just do it consistently, right?
Yes.
When black people are being racist fucking pieces of shit, and call them out for it. It's not fucking hard.
Too many people are operating off of the combination of they have the bigotry of low expectations, and now the P plus P equals R definition of racism is like wormed its way into too many people's minds. Yes.
Fuck yes. Yeah.
And we're only going to move past this when that shit dies. And people are like, no, just don't be racist against anyone. It's very simple. Super ultra simple.
Look, we're only going to move past it when companies like Give, Send, Go nut up and realize they shouldn't be doing that shit. They shouldn't have some inconsistent policy that allows anybody who's brown to be as racist as they fucking want.
Of course. Right. So anyway, that's the whole situation. Everyone, so from my perception, everyone involved is just being shitty. I completely agree with Ben Shapiro. You can just not give money to shitty people. It's not an own, say like, oh, well, some group, the blacks are donating money and being shitty in this situation. So I'm going to donate money to this white person who was racist to get them. Like, it's like, oh, okay. Like, that's the message you want to say. I don't think it's really promoting the right. Like, obviously the white nationalists are very happy about it. But outside of that sphere, the people that are kind of on the right that aren't white nationalists that are getting suckered into donating or arguing in favor of this, I mean, it's not doing themselves any favors. They're just continually aligning themselves with that faction in a way that's not going to be comfortable for, people that are not in that sphere. It's a very stupid move politically to do that.
Well, there's only two directions you can go as a society, right? You can accept that people are going to be racist pieces of shit everywhere, and just that's going to be the norm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can say white people, brown people, whoever, we're not going to really stand for people being racist pieces of shit, right? Right now, it's a double standard that infuriates people. So, I mean, I lean more towards the, let's curb our racist piece of shit stuff a bit, right? I don't want to go too crazy. Like, I don't want it to the point where we can't even really have a conversation because everyone's talking about microaggressions and shit. But if a comedian like uses the N-word, I don't think people should lose their fucking minds, right? If a comedian calls someone a cracker, I don't think people should lose their fucking minds, right?
Right.
You just you gotta come up with where you're gonna put the line, right? Where's the acceptable place for the line? And I'm talking just culturally, not legally, right? Obviously, we live in an environment where we have freedom of speech. So legally, you can be as detestable as you fucking want. But there are other factions in the marketplace. Obviously, these companies are those factions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wherever the companies come down and say where they have a certain amount of power, they want to draw the line. They just need to draw the line consistently. They need to say, we can't have some groups that can just way cross the line and other groups can't even come close to the line, which is the situation we have now, why people are losing their minds.
Yeah. And I mean, and we've talked about this before, that, part of the problem is American culture has a very strong immune system response to racism against black people, because obviously we had slaves and
The
Civil
history
War
of
and
it,
Jim
yeah,
Crow
exactly.
and all. So we have like this like baked in history of all this stuff. And so whenever there's like racism against Black people, there's like this very strong immune response from society and from the culture. But then because we don't really have a history until recently of like just virulent anti-white racism, that response just doesn't exist yet. And we have to make it exist. We have to have, just an anti-racism response, not just based entirely on what direction it's coming from.
Yeah. Well, this is giant steps in the opposite direction, though, because this is almost like people are encouraging the racism, right?
Yeah, no, but
everyone's
that's
getting
100%
rich off
what's
this
going on.
racism.
Yeah, that's 100% what's going on. And so, yeah, all the Groyper accounts are like, cheering that they're like, oh, we're giving money to some random lady, so we're winning. And I'm like, okay, I guess, when it comes out that she voted for Kamala Harris or whatever, or that she was woke a couple of years ago, you can, I'm sure you all feel great about that. So,
Yeah, they have a detestable narrative that I can't stomach at all.
Mhm.
I mean, they basically believe Black people are inferior and criminals and like all this horrible racist shit. So,
Mhm.
so doing this in the service of that narrative is awful. Awful.
Yeah, and I don't know. They're all. I think I think this is all going to blow up in the. I think it's going to blow up in their face. I think it's going to blow up in the Republican Party's face. Because right now, you have Trump is kind of holding these various coalitions together. I mean, I don't want to say he's holding the white nationalist, coalition together because they don't really like him because of all the Israel stuff. But he's kind of holding the Republican Party together, the sort of populist wing and I guess the more neoconservative or the more conservative wing together. And, when Trump's not president anymore, when his term's over, like the Republican Party is going to have, I think, a very difficult time trying to define itself and reestablish itself. And you have if you have the weirdo white nationalist movement that is like growing online and they're going to try to assert dominance. I mean, that's just going to totally make it so easy for the Democrats to run roughshod over the Republicans for the next 10 years if they have any sort of association with that going forward.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Everyone's being shitty about it. So here we are. Anyways.
Oh, are we done?
Well, on that topic, thank you so much, Spencer Harmon, for the $50. Says if the question is ever asked, quote, why isn't the government doing X? The always correct, never wrong answer is the government fucking sucks. It hardly does anything well. Generally, why would we want to do more? With love, of course. Well, there you go. So
Spencer is virulently anti-government. So
I can tell. Yeah.
But look, the medicine goes down a lot nicer with a $50 super chat. That's for sure.
Right.
Is that wrong, Sitch?
Is what wrong?
Look, I've got to admit, I'm being persuaded here.
Oh, I see. Yeah, there you go. Listen, just donate to us more money. And we, listen, we're hacks. We'll change our opinions, right?
Why isn't no, obviously we're not going to do that, but I will become more sympathetic to your opinion, for definitely.
The order of events, the founder was first getting heat about taking the Anthony campaign down. That was the initial free speech argument. The comment thing became a problem after. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I thought he was only getting heat because of the comments. You're saying he was getting heat just because they want him to take the campaign down in general, just because of the crime aspect of it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they probably have something in their TOS about not being able to. Well, I'm not sure. They did that with Kyle Rittenhouse. They made Kyle Rittenhouse take down his campaign because of the TOS.
Was it a give, send, go, or was it something different?
I'm not sure.
Was it GoFundMe?
Might have been a GoFundMe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, if they have something in their TOS that says that you can't do it it was a GoFundMe for Kyle Rittenhouse. If they have something, I don't know what their TOS is about the whole taking down things. For people that are accused of crimes. If Give, Send, Go says that if you're accused of a crime and you can raise money, I don't know, but that's fair is fair, I guess, as long as everyone can do it. But
Right. Fair is fair.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think people conflating giving money to the lady as like you're pushing back against cancel culture. Here's why I don't see it that way. She didn't say like, oh, if you read even her give, send, go thing, and this is why the Groyper accounts are so happy about her. She didn't say like, oh, in a heated moment, I said the N-word to a child, probably shouldn't have said that. That wasn't great, but I don't think my life should be destroyed for that. Right. Then I'd say, okay, standing up to cancel culture or whatever, fine. But that's not really what she's saying. She's saying like, I should probably bring it up. She said something that was like, I called him what he was acting like or something. Like, if he doesn't want to be called the N-word, he should act like the N-word. I was like, oh, that's very interesting. Okay. So not really, to me, it's not really like a cancel culture issue. She's obviously like either intentionally just kind of doubling down on it because she knows those are people donating or because she just really feels that way. So it doesn't feel like a cancel culture to me issue. It feels to me more like a white nationalist issue that's being smuggled into trying to trick people into thinking it's a cancel culture issue. So there you go. You can have a situation where everyone sucks and is involved with it, but okay. Where are we? Malik, thanks so much for the $20. Says Revenge of the Sitch episode 3 is a masterpiece. You have bad movie hangover from episode 2. No, I'm sorry, they're both bad. They're both bad. You're just gonna have to accept it. You
missed one, first of all.
I know, I just saw the $20 one popped up. So.
I did rewatch. I have been rewatching those with my dad, and with the shock of being spit upon with the metachlorian things, they are like, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're better than I remember them. So,
Really?
Yeah, I just
interesting.
When I first saw them, I just was like, this is fucking a crime against humanity.
I don't know. I've seen them a lot. I've seen those movies a lot, and I don't know. They've never gotten better, ever.
Right.
So
it's still basically like the cinema equivalent of the Holocaust.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
If I go back to the Holocaust, right? Maybe it's like the cinema equivalent of the Trail of Tears.
Okay.
Right? We have the Trail of Tears of cinema. Does that make sense?
Right.
But not quite the Holocaust.
You get in trouble when you compare things to the Holocaust. So, but you understand what I'm trying to do.
Like the last sequel movie, maybe is like Holocaust of film. Right?
Okay. So you are willing to go there then.
I'm willing to go there. I'm just saying it's not quite there. Right. It's not quite there.
Well, look, if I'm walking it back from that.
Yes.
And I'm saying, it's like Sunday, Bloody Sunday. It's not like the Holocaust.
Right.
Yeah.
Dr.
I'm not saying that they're good. I wouldn't go out there and make. That's where I have the problem.
You're like,
people are coming out and going, these are movies to enjoy. Look, if you saw it when you were a kid, and I've done this. Look, there are plenty of movies that I saw when I was a kid, and I thought, this is the best fucking movie ever.
The live action Mario movie.
Right. And I grow up and I watch it again, and I was going, well, I was a stupid kid. But there are some people that just they won't grow up, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Or look, they still have fond memories of it. So I just think as you get older, you can become more detached from something. Judge it more objectively, right?
Yes. Maybe.
I mean, there are clear goals and stakes in the movie. I mean, there are movies where there is no fucking goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you're really into trash territory.
Yeah. So you're saying Star Wars prequels not as bad as Genocide, not as bad as Floof goofing,
right?
But still not great.
Yeah, not great.
Okay. Dr. Adam, refriended Brigadier General for 28 months, says breaking news: new GTA 6 trailer. Forget about the dumb shit and watch this instead. A-Team reigns supreme. I actually did see the GTA 6 trailer. Everyone was talking about the graphics. When you watch the trailer, I don't know. It's hard for me to see what is like cutscene in-game cutscene graphics versus like plain graphics until I see, and maybe it's out there, but at least in the trailer I saw, I want to see the gameplay with the UI, so I can be like, oh, okay, this is really good graphics before I like, jizz my pants like everyone else. Been burned too many times before. Metal Rules 81 for $5 says Ethan really went after Sam in his response to the content deputy called him a hack and whatnot. Check out that video at 5:10. He talks about it for 2 minutes. Which video? Mitch for 2 Aussie bucks says thoughts on Psycho-Pass or the new Devil May Cry. I haven't seen Psycho-Pass. Everyone tells me I like it. I haven't seen it. I haven't watched the new Devil May Cry. I know everyone was comparing it to Frerin, where they're all doing like kind of the woke turning for the demons. The demons are just misunderstood versus based Frerin just like purge the demons from reality. They're scum. Japanese name for $5. Thank you. Says, I just realized Hassan says it's okay that the Houthis have slaves because they're freedom fighters. So is it okay that the America had slaves? Well, no, because America bad. America white and America bad. Houthis maybe not white and fighting against America, so America good. Speaking of the Houthis, it was kind of an interesting story. Donald Trump said today that he had a conversation or a call with the Houthis, and the Houthis have agreed to stop attacking ships when they go by up to the Suez Canal and everything. So that's good if that's the case. I'm guessing it was in response to both the American bombing, attacking the Houthis, and also Israel blew up some very big port and then also blew up some major airport they had. So it seemed like that. If it's true that the Houthis decided to actually stop, it seemed like they got the message there. So that'd be good. And also kind of breed the question, I guess, why didn't anyone do that before if that's all it really took for someone to blow up their major airport? And they say, okay, we'll stop kidnapping random innocent people and shooting rockets at random innocent, boats.
Did I miss the GTA discussion? Grand Theft Auto is one game that I actually played a lot of. So
really,
it's nice that it's still around. Yeah.
Interesting.
Look, the game where you can have sex with a prostitute. Come
on. Oh, okay, that's true. I should have.
Of course, that's my game.
BJP equals base for 2 hours says, did you see the David Portney Auschwitz situation? No, I didn't see that. I don't know anything about that. What happened?
Didn't David Portney have some? David Portney is the Barstool guy, right? Something Barstool.
Barstool Sports founder, yeah.
Yeah, they had some party or something, and somebody had a sign that said "fuck the Jewish people."
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was a big. They're trying to get him to take.
Listen, they don't hate Jews. They just want to stop the genocides. They held up a sign that said "fuck the Jews."
Yeah, I don't know much about the story. I just saw the clip and I saw a tweet from him saying the guy is like lawyered up and not wanting to take responsibility. I guess they were trying to get him to take the fall for this. I mean, it seems simple enough, right? Was it his fucking sign or not? I don't know. But people are losing their minds over it, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, got this race stuff. People are just getting brazen.
So here's what Dave Portnoy said. He said, my initial reaction was I was going to expletive burn these people to the ground, their families, everything. And then it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best course of action. Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment. And like before, people just are like, F the Jews or any group they hate. Let's try to turn a hideous incident into maybe a learning experience. As cliche and very unlike me, but I talked to both the culprits who I know are super involved in it. I talked to their families. I'm sending these kids to Auschwitz. I think that's a little much, right? You're going to send them to a concentration camp just because they to learn. Okay, I'm just kidding. He's going to send them to learn about Auschwitz. They've agreed to go. That's, of course, the Holocaust concentration camps. Been in touch with the Crafts who run the anti-hate group. We're going to send these kids to Auschwitz. They're going to do a tour of the concentration camps in Germany and hopefully learn something. And maybe their lives won't be ruined. And they think twice. And more importantly, other people see it's not just the words you're throwing around. So to me, that's a fair outcome of the event. Well, that's good, right? That's a good reaction to the whole thing. You're like, I'm going to cancel these people. I'm going to destroy them. It's like, no, they're going to go. So we're making it a learning experience.
See, everyone in my generation knows about Auschwitz from like documentaries and shit like that. But in this internet culture, I can see a bunch of these kids going, oh, that's propaganda. That's all fucking fake. Schindler's List? Oh, that's Hollywood propaganda. That never happened. The Holocaust never happened. That's their thinking here. So, but look, sending them to Auschwitz where they see physical evidence of it might help, right?
Right. Although apparently that's changed. It says yesterday, Portney said in a post on X that he revoked the trip to Auschwitz for at least one of the people involved because the person is no longer taking responsibility for the sign.
Right.
Oh, okay. Are they they're saying that it wasn't them, so shouldn't go?
Yeah, that's the tweet where he said he lawyered up, right? The guy got an attorney.
Maybe. In a statement on Instagram, the bar wrote, "We are sad, embarrassed, and frustrated by the deplorable actions of a customer and misguided staff acting outside the scope of their duties, which resulted in anti-Semitic hate speech last evening at our establishment. Unfortunately, several employees ignored all of their training and organization's written policies regarding our zero tolerance policy for discrimination and hate, and said the employees complied with the customer's request for a sign in connection with ordering bottle service." Wait. The bar, you can like go, okay, I'm so confused. How does this work? You're at the bar and you're like, hey, can you get me a beer and also write a sign that says fuck the Jews?
No, they
How
probably,
did that work?
They probably have a sign for bottle service to like alert the bottle service people.
Oh, that you like hold up to get their
bring
attention or
their
something?
stuff out. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And instead of writing, we need our cabinet. This is the bottle we want you to bring out. They wrote F the Jews on the sign.
Okay, but did the bar they didn't tell them not to do that? They didn't kick them out. They're just like, oh, that's fine. You just hold up the sign that says F the Jews when you want beer. It's pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah, look, if I was working there, I'd probably go over and say, hey, maybe you stop it with a sign. Maybe you knock that shit off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But look, I'm sure Jewish people go to that establishment, right? That's fucking messed up. That's totally messed up.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, there you go.
But anyway, this
Interesting
became
story.
another viral moment because someone filmed. That's the thing. People know they're going to go viral as soon as they do something like that.
Of course.
They can't resist.
Well, at least he wanted to do something other than cancel. I don't know what's going to happen, but that was nice. At least the thought was nice.
Teachable moment. He's like, no, nobody learned anything about anything here.
Right. Mike Mills for $5 says the Give, Send, Go founder was on the Piers Morgan panel about this too. Might be a good watch. Oh, I'll check that out. I did see that it was super weird. I did see that Piers Morgan had like fucking the Fresh and Fit guy on, I guess, to be like racist. And then also it was kind of interesting. I did see that apparently Piers Morgan interviewed Kanye West and Sneeko was there. Sneeko is now Kanye West's like Nick Fuentes assistant.
Sidekick? Really?
Yeah, his little sidekick.
That's crazy.
And apparently, just like his Tim Pool conversation, Kanye West got so triggered about something that Piers Morgan asked him that he got up and left the conversation after a little bit.
He did it again. Crazy.
So, and Piers Morgan is saying he's going to release whatever the footage is up to that point.
So it's not out yet. We're gonna watch this. Obviously,
We're gonna watch.
Probably
that.
watch
It's
it
gonna be a lot
on
of fun.
Thursday.
Yeah, I hope it's out by Thursday. So. Flamingo TV for $2 says, watch Barry, one of the funniest shows I've seen.
Barry's about the serial killer guy, right? I think that is pretty funny.
I watched the first season, and I liked it.
You watched the whole season? I watched 15 minutes of an episode.
I watched the first season. I liked it a lot until the last episode. The last episode was of the first season really put me off in a weird way.
Look, it's always endings. I'm just like, the ending makes or breaks the movie. Why do they got to do that? They're on a roll. You're like, okay, I care about these characters. They're actually trying to do something here. I get it. And then they're like, no, this ending must suck.
Right. But listen, enough time has passed. Okay. My emotions of anger and disgust towards that ending has gone away. Maybe I'll come back. I'll give it a chance. I'll start with season 2, see how it does.
Do you still have not watched Andor? Like Andor's the thing we should be talking about.
I need to actually watch Andor. Yes.
Andor's the last 3 episodes were actually good. I wasn't regretting sitting down in front of the television for 3 hours. So, and it's the next 3 episodes are tonight. So, and the people who did see the entire thing, because they let people watch, I guess you got to be some insider or something. They let them watch the whole 12 episodes, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it does get better. The first 3, I was just, oh, please tell me it gets more exciting than this. So.
Right. Okay. Sketch for $5 says Netflix Devil May Cry is the epitome of quote, I hope your favorite stream goes mainstream and gets a Netflix series. It sucks. Yep. That seemed to be what everyone was saying. I never played, or I think I played like one Devil May Cry game, so it's never been like a thing that I've been involved in, but that is sad for those that were fans. Dr. Diller for $2 says, I can't believe you would shit on our charity event. We ran into some unforeseen circumstance that made us lost a bunch of money, but it's not my wife and I's fault. Anyways, we decided to step away because we're ruining the event. That's about the size of it, I guess. Yeah.
That's totally hilarious too.
Right. Fondue for $20. Thank you, Fondue. Says, regarding Frurin from Sunday, you can watch 2/3 of the first episode to get the premise of the show. From there, the setup begins to pay off from episode 3. If you like that payoff, I'm sure you'll enjoy the show to the end. Well, there you go, Adam. To watch the first 2/3 of the first episode, then you jump ahead to episode 3.
Right.
To get it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I do. I do want to watch it. Everyone's saying it's good. I do want to watch. Sell it for $2 says, what is a good summary of why anti-white racism is harmful? In case I get it in an ear-life argument with someone who doesn't think it's real or it's not harmful, it doesn't matter because it pales in comparison to anti-black racism. So if you're arguing with someone who only cares about anti-black racism, I mean, it's just very simple. You just point to you and say, listen, if you've been on X, you've seen like all the fucking, white nationalist stuff is getting more and more, it's getting bigger and bigger. And their biggest argument is why the fuck should we not be racist if everyone is racist against us? Which is true.
That's a great argument. Yeah.
This is the way it always works. And I've been saying this on the channel for years. I said it from the very beginning. The way that warfare works, and has always worked since the dawn of time, is that there's some rule in war, and then someone violates that rule. They start using some new weapon. They start using some new weapon against the other side, and the other side, in order to compete, in order to fight back, they will use the same new weapon that is effective against them. All right. And I said this years ago when all the woke shit started. I said, if you allow people to use anti-white racism as a weapon against white people, then obviously white people are going to pick up their own racial identity and use it as a weapon right back. Obviously. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what's happening right now. All this all this fucking weird white national shit wouldn't be popping off if it wasn't for people literally attacking white people on the basis of their race. If you attack people, it's the most natural, common thing that you would ever expect. If you attack a group of people by some characteristic they have, they're going to unite around that characteristic to defend themselves. It's the most obvious thing on the planet, and that's exactly what's going on. And so, yes, even if you personally don't give a shit about being racist against white people, from a practical pragmatic, which I think you should, obviously, but if you're arguing with someone who doesn't, from a pragmatic standpoint, if you want society to not be fucking racist, then it has to be not racist for everyone. That's the only way it will work. Society will not function with a double standard. It can't function with double standard. That always breeds conflict and disaster. It creates a boiling point where suddenly people are going to say, I can't take it anymore, and there's going to be an explosion. It happens time and time and time again.
Yeah, the double standard emboldens anti-black racism. So you're basically just signing off on that if you're not going to fight back.
Exactly. That's the succinct way of putting it. Anti-white racism emboldens and creates anti-black racism.
Yeah.
If that's how you have to frame it to someone, right? I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to frame it to some people that way, but you got to meet people where they are, I guess.
It's a good
Dr. Diller
argument. I like it.
for $2 says, here's money to delay watching Farron for 6 months. Look at that. Dr. Diller wants us to not watch Farron. Okay.
He doesn't like Farron?
Yes.
Oh.
I guess not. Or he's just being a troll. Double E for $2 says you guys should hit up Vegan Gains for a guest spot.
I haven't talked to Vegan Gains for years. There's a
Right.
I don't know. I did a debate with him years ago. That might still be floating around the internet.
I don't even know what he's up to these days.
I did a debate with him, and I did a debate with that other cringy guy. What was his name? I can't remember. God, those debates were fun. Isaac. I think his name is Isaac, but I can't remember his screen name. But yeah, I for the longest time would just say that veganism is immoral, and it would trigger the fucking shit out of them. And I have a good argument for why veganism is immoral, because obviously with my definition of morality, morality is a set of rules that binds individuals into a cooperative community to compete for resources and members from other communities.
Mm-hmm.
And who the fuck wants to be a part of a vegan community? I mean, you got to be a little fucking crazy. So veganism is actually caustic towards keeping communities together. And if the whole point of morality is to keep communities together, then obviously veganism is immoral, right? Like if it's an acid for moral communities, then it's immoral.
It's a funny argument. It's a fun little argument.
I like it. Yeah, exactly.
Gotta trigger the vegans, right? Those vegans, they think they're so cool. They think they're so smarmy. We're so morally superior than you.
That's exactly why it triggers them. They think they're like, what? Veganism is the moral higher. That is the pinnacle of morality.
And you're like, no, fuck you. You're actually evil. Piece of shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, knock them down a peg or two. Fuck them.
Exactly.
I like it. I love it. That's great. Anyways.
All right. Look at this. This was a fun stream. Can't believe I got 2 packages delivered during the live stream.
2 whole packages.
But we'll be back on Thursday. Should be fun.
Yes.
That's it.
Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you for your incredibly generous donations, and we'll see you all on Thursday. Take care.
Bye. Weirdos.
You can't do bye-bye. It's not Sunday.
Oh, you're right.
How dare you?